Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
I think the general public has no idea what roadies do. Bless them all. I just play the podcasts.
Boo.
That's a Tom Petty quote.
Boo.
And we're kicking off our episode with a Tom Petty quote, just like Showtime's Roadies kicks off its whole season with
boo.
A Tom Petty quote. Ladies and gentlemen, my
Thank
name...
you for pausing for my boo.
Anytime. You know why? Because I am your friend, and collectively we are hashtag the two friends.
And this is...
The Who Friends?
It's the Who Friends.
Griffin Newman.
David Sims.
This is Blank
I was
Check.
listening to the Who on the subway.
God. Oh, my Lord.
I don't care. I'm taking this off the rails as much as I can this episode.
I'm fucking Steven Seagal. You're taking us into dark territory. Foreshadowing. And I'm trying to keep this train on the tracks. My name's Griffin Newman. Your name's David Sims. This is Blank Check with Griffin and David. This is a podcast where we go through filmographies of directors who have big success early on and are given a series of blank checks creatively to do crazy projects. Sometimes those checks cash out. Sometimes they bounce, baby.
Sometimes they bounce over 10 episodes of television on a premium cable.
And sometimes it's charming.
Nope.
This miniseries is called We Podcast. It's
over.
The ultimate episode.
It's over.
Whoa, what a roller coaster it's been. Life's a carnival, is it not?
Well, it was a roller coaster, like in that thing where it's like you start at the top, you take a big ladder, you climb to the top, and then it dips a little bit, and then it goes back to the top, and then it just goes down, and then it's over.
You're forgetting
it's
that
like
time?
a log flume.
Forgetting that time we bought a zoo. Ladies
yeah,
and gentlemen,
that's true.
Ladies and gentlemen, our final episode, the most recent Cameron Crowe project, is a 10-part Showtime original series, a dramedy.
The last Cameron Crowe project?
Who knows? We made that same joke on our last episode.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roadies. And
boo! I was drinking water,
Yay!
so I wasn't fast with that.
Here to talk about Roadies with us is a very special guest.
Yes.
Now here's the thing. You've heard him before.
Yeah, almost every week.
Almost every week.
He comes in,
Every
records, and he
every
leaves.
episode of 2016, you've heard him.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. Reggie Watt style.
Yeah. I love that old joke.
It's a great bit.
Great old bit.
He is the man behind our theme song for this show, the Blank Check song.
Indeed.
That, of course, is sort of, at this point, the song has become more popular than the show.
Easily.
It's sort of like Anna Kendrick's
They're
Cups.
spinning it off.
It's a #1 Billboard single. And we got to make a music video, and we're like, we didn't expect this to be a hit, but, the public decides.
I can't do it. I can't do the cups.
And took a ticket for the long
When I'm gone. Yes, go ahead.
We already got enough Foley work coming up a couple episodes from now.
Ben suggested he would strongly edit that episode.
Not true. We're stretching it out.
Stretching.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Half speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is a musician.
Yeah, sorry.
You know him from outfits such as The Great American Novel and then currently the romantic comedy.
Yes.
Correct? Nailed it?
Yeah, nailed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Layne Montgomery is here with us.
Hi, everyone.
Woo!
It's a-
It's
I
only
actually-
woo.
I actually expected applause for that for a second.
At home, everyone's doing golf.
We
clap.
don't do applause on
We
this
don't.
podcast.
No. Layne, you are a musician.
Yes.
You have toured. You lived on the road.
A little bit.
But you played on the road.
Yeah.
Did you go to Cincinnati?
No, I've never been.
Oh,
I said the word.
But now that's like I'm such a superstitious guy that's going to be a thing in my head if I ever play
Is that
Cincinnati.
made up or is it? We'll get to it.
Well, you know the rule.
What's that?
Well, Comedy Bang Bang was doing a live show in Cincinnati, and they were doing their sound check, and the crowd heard it. It was a late sound check, and they thought that the show was happening, so they stampeded in, and 15 people died. So you know what we have to do now.
You have to go steal some eggs from a farm.
Yeah. We cannot live
Are we going to fall in love?
UCB offices until we find 5 copies of Bossy Pants.
Luis Guzman is going to burst through the door.
We have to get 4 bottles of Schweppes ginger ale.
I'm done drinking the water.
Okay. Layne, your mother is a comedian.
Yes,
And you grew up in Las Vegas. Like, you've spent your whole life sort of
In the performance arts?
that's true.
but also around show folk. I mean, you were sort of behind the scenes, backstage, watching the nuts and bolts of things, and then went into music and
With the unsung heroes of rock?
yeah. and the unsung heroes of
comedy.
burlesque
Of role?
comedy. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
No,
both, all
yeah.
three. But you're a friend of the show, of
Yep.
course. Gifted us with the theme song.
No, you were
And
the obvious candidate.
you were the obvious
we
candidate.
discussed you way back in the Say Anything days. As
Yeah.
the obvious candidate.
Yes, and it felt like
Here's how the conversation went. Griffin said, "Oh, we're gonna have to do Roadies," and I said, "Oh, what? I don't want to."
Yeah.
And he was like, "By the way, we should have Layne on." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine."
Yeah,
That's a good
right.
idea.
That was sort of the conversation. But I thought, because we had not watched any Roadies at the time, it felt like it'd be good to have someone with your background on to like sort of examine the veracity of the show.
Yeah, right. You can be. We'll just throw something at you, and you just true false,
Yep,
false,
yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Roadies, the show, true, false.
So true.
Okay, great.
Everything there actually happened.
The Staten House band. True or false?
Real band.
Yeah.
Real
I thought
band.
so. I thought so.
I love that they didn't give us any songs of theirs except
No.
like a little
It's amazing.
line from one.
There's one scene where they sing.
Yeah. While they're like cutesy falling in love again.
Yeah.
We never hear Janine.
You hear
You
Rafe
hear the
Spall
line.
and Imogen Poots
Yes.
sing a little Janine, but you don't know what it actually sounds like. Maybe they're tone deaf.
Yeah.
The like variety of opening bands that they have makes me
Right,
have
does not
no
suggest
idea
a
what this
genre.
band sounds
No,
like.
absolutely not. And even just the response of like Mr. Finger, like what he
Oh man.
sort of
Oh boy, Mr.
Hey,
Finger.
hey.
The second worst blogger character on the show.
Well, and I was gonna say the way those two guys respond to the band, it's like it doesn't make sense
No.
where this band functions in the universe, what kind of role they have,
I
what
took
kind of
them
genre
as
they have.
a worse Dawes.
I don't even know if I know Dawes. That's the other thing. This episode,
I could see that.
That was an old AV Club joke.
Okay.
Shouting out the band Dawes in the comments section. They used to do that a lot.
yeah.
I thought it would definitely be Coldplay-esque. You know?
Yeah,
That's the vibe
yeah.
I got.
I mean,
Mumford Sons,
Yeah.
Mumford and the
The
Sons.
Mumford Sons?
You know the
Yeah.
Mumford and his Sons.
yeah, there you go. You got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Fourth time lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mumford and his sons.
Yeah. My mom and my sister lived in Paris for a year because my mom wanted my sister to see the world, to get experience. I don't know. But I went to visit them, and it was just my mom and my sister living in an apartment by themselves in a city where my sister like didn't know anybody, felt very isolated. And they had like their iPod plugged into an iPod dock that just for like the first 4 days I was there just played this one fucking Mumford and Sons song on loop. And I just at one point like just started screaming. I was like, "Why is this song playing on loop?" And they were like, "Oh, well, the iPod's broken." And I was like, "What do you mean the iPod's broken?" I looked at it and it was just on repeat one. And I turned it off, but I was like, "How long have you been listening to this song?" And they were like, "I don't know, like 6 months."
Did they go mad?
No, they seemed fine with it, but they were like, "Oh, let's put on some music," and they just every time they were gonna put on some music, were resigned to listening to this one. You know that song?
Yeah.
It was that song, and I after 4 days was like, I never want to.
4 days.
4 days.
I would last a minute.
I lasted maybe 4 days and was like, I will never hear that song ever again. They did it for 6 months. I want to vomit when I hear the name Mumford.
All right, are we done talking about Roadies? Because that was fine. That was fine.
Good app, guys.
Yeah, that was good.
Roadies is a 10-part Showtime original series that premiered in May and just finale'd.
It just finale last Sunday as we're recording this.
Ooh,
and
perfectly timed. And people ask why we
well-timed.
pushed Cameron Crowe ahead of James Cameron. It's because 3 months from now, no one will remember that Roadies exists. This was the one time.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
The show has finale'd. Showtime has been very, very sort of waffly about whether or not there is a future to the show.
They're not renewing this show.
But they're also not like, we're canceling it.
No, but well, I was talking with TV Mojo, Joe Dalian, who's a great TV biz writer of culture, and he's like, "Yeah, David, Friday before Labor Day is coming up. You know, that's when you say that you canceled Roadies."
Really?
Yeah.
It's the Friday before Labor Day?
It's like some long weekend, like Friday afternoon.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You buried the news.
You just say like, "Oh, and we canceled Roadies," and then so like the 14 remaining Cameron Crowe fans could be like, "No," but like almost no one will care anyway. It'll just sort of get forgotten. Put it this way: this show is the least watched show on Showtime.
Is that true?
But there's one show that's behind it, except for one show, and I want you to guess what it is.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Ray Donovan.
No, Radon have been very popular.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's... oh,
That's the
God.
only other Showtime show I
Yeah,
know.
the Showtime lineup. Is it a comedy or a drama?
I've never seen it because I would never want to subject myself. Put it this way.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this as I was watching Roadies because I didn't like.
It's not episodes, right?
No.
Wait, I think I've got it, but I want to see if Griffin
Okay.
gets it.
Yeah. What were you going to say about it?
Well, I didn't like Roadies.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was quite bad. But as I was watching, I was thinking about another show that I liked more than Roadies, but also perhaps struggled to connect with audiences about the music industry that aired on premium cable this year called Vinyl.
Oh.
And I was thinking about one of the worst things about Vinyl was that there was
The
a
lack
lot
of dialogue I had. Well,
very true. But there was a lot of time spent on the murder of Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh.
And it's funny
Yes.
that Vinyl maybe had too much plot. Roadies maybe had not enough plot. But anyway, Dice. Dice is the show.
Yeah. Was that going to be your guess?
that's what
Yeah.
Dice,
Yeah.
which I did not watch.
No.
It was sort of wasn't it like a Marin-esque?
Yeah.
Like they lock the gates, but with dice.
Yes.
Which everyone was waiting for.
Yeah, everyone was like, God, give me some like gritty realism comedy with dice. Like I want to see Andrew Dice Clay make an omelet.
Have you noticed on Twitter how many people are now like tweeting "lock the gates" shit at us?
Yes.
In a way where like someone tweeted like very happy that Blank Check has leaned into making Lock the Gates their Haenong man.
Yeah.
Which is ignoring the fact that we stole it from another show.
I know. I mean,
That us parodying another show's catchphrase
we're doing
has become
the
our catchphrase.
WTF catchphrase, and it's become a Comedy Bang Bang-esque bit.
Yes.
So we've taken two other very wildly successful podcasts
Yeah.
on our own moderately somewhat noticed podcast.
We comedy bang banged WTF and made it into a Blank Check.
Yeah. Well,
But
we did.
But this, I mean, it ties into this show, certainly.
Dice?
Mark
Lock the
Maron.
gates. Yeah.
This show unlocks the gates.
For a second.
Maron walks through them.
Lets him in there.
Yeah,
and
lock
then
the gate.
he turns it around, walks out, they lock the gates again.
They lock the gates behind him.
This show locked the gates on dramatic storylines.
Yeah.
It didn't let him in.
Well, no. Okay,
It
so
locked the gates on interesting things happening.
So interesting thing that you said. I'm now gonna immediately serve up a counterpoint, and this will be the core of the rest of our episode.
Oh, no.
I think the show is better than Vinyl.
Interesting. I don't. Vinyl at least, I was like, well, kind of interested in what's going to happen,
Griff's got a good mustache.
Chris got a good
That was
mustache.
a great
That was a great
mustache.
mustache. Yeah.
Vinyl wasn't my favorite show. I didn't dislike it in this. Some people seem to dislike it more than I did.
No, I think
Roadies.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I had a great time working on it, and I don't think it was a bad show. But I think the thing when you bring up the Dice Clay murder,
Oh boy.
I mean, it's the last thing you want out of a show in the music industry is trying to solve the murder of Andrew Dice Clay.
I think the downfall of that show is them putting too many things in the pot. Right? They put too many toppings on the pizza, and you just want a nice cheese slice.
Well, right. And
The setup of the show is so clean.
You got pizza, and then you had some like pepperoni, which was kind of Ollie doing martial arts.
Right. That's fine.
And then you had
Pepperoni,
some
that's fine.
mushrooms, which is the cocaine, and you're like, this is getting a little much. But then there's like pineapple. That's Andrew Dice Clay's busted head.
Yeah.
his skull busted open.
And then like 4 different cheeses, but one of them's Gruyere. And you're like, I don't know. I think Gruyere is not great on pizza. Like, I like it on its own.
Roadies is like they rolled out the dough and then they just left.
See-
and then it sort of sat in the sun, so it didn't cook exactly, but it sort of crisped a little
Okay,
bit.
I disagree with you.
And then someone came back, like Showtime, and was like, Jesus, like at least put butter on. I don't know, like sprayed some oil on it.
Okay, I like your metaphor.
Thank
I
you.
think Vinyl's definitely a pizza with too many toppings, right? When the core pizza itself had a lot going for it. And there's still good bites in there, but sometimes you're like, just too much.
Too much.
You know, and it's like, do you want to take the time to pick the pineapple off of it? Like that stuff, right? Also, they didn't give me enough dialogue. I
Very
think
true.
I think that Roadies is like a flatbread.
Yeah.
I think they did put
It's
cheese.
a flat bread.
Right, I think they did put
No,
cheese
they
and
forgot.
tomato on it.
No,
No,
they
see, I'll
forgot.
disagree with you.
They forgot.
I think there's some cheese and tomato on the flatbread, but I
It's
think
like-
it is a flatbread.
No, here's what it is. It's like they've got this like big ball of mozzarella on the side, like fresh.
Like a
and you're
buffalo?
called Gugino.
A buffalo mozzarella.
Gugino mozzarella, right?
Gugino
And you're like,
mozzarella.
oh, I can't wait to see them I can't wait to eat
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then they forgot to put it on. It's just sitting over there.
Okay, Layne, would you like to step into the arena and throw out your own
This is
pizza
great.
analogy?
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to have so much fun recording this episode.
This is going to be our best episode ever. Layne, if you had to compare Vinyl and Roadies to pizzas, how would you describe them?
Well, first of all, neither show has enough of you, obviously.
Well, and
Very
yeah,
true.
Yeah.
You would have been good on Roadies.
I would have been good.
Did you audition?
I did audition.
Did you audition?
I auditioned. Can you guess which character I auditioned to play?
Milo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Actually, no.
No, did you audition for,
Imogen
Machine
Wes.
Gun Kelly? Wes? Yeah.
Wes. I auditioned for, yeah.
Yeah.
But I played him much more like Milo. Like, when I watched the show, I was like, oh, that's what they wanted. I played him real sad sacky,
Well, I guess
which was like Milo.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they had Milo, but then they, forget that Milo's on the show,
Yeah.
pretty fast.
But he was great.
He's
was
really
one
good.
of the highlights of the show.
I like the actor. I don't know him. Who is
Peter
he?
Cambor?
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know him
looking
either.
There
up.
is a terrible TBS show from a few years back called Wedding Band.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Which he was in playing, I believe, a bass player also.
Wow.
And I would watch that every night, every Saturday night on TBS, and it's not a good show, but it was enjoyable to me.
Was that Brian Austin Green?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He was also on that show Notes from the Underbelly, which was like one of the many pregnancy shows. It
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
last.
Yeah.
There was like this rash in the mid-2000s where every network is like, we need a show about how hard it is and or easy it is to get pregnant.
It was In the Motherhood, right?
Yeah,
Which
it was In the
Patty
Motherhood.
Heaton and Jessica St. Clair, I think.
And then there was like a
Leia
drama.
Remini?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there was a drama that was set at like a fertility clinic called like Inconceivable with like Ming Na.
I can't
There
believe
was,
that
like-
didn't succeed. That sounds unbelievable.
And it was canceled after like 20 minutes. Like, CBS just like aired, a black screen rather than complete the episode. It had like Ming Na and like Omar Epps. Like, how, when you see
That
this,
sounds
you're like,
fucking great.
there were 80 pilot scripts, there were like 20 pilot, like, how did this make it all the way up the chain?
Yeah.
And then they're immediately like, whoa, wait a second, no. Anyway, I think it was called Inconceivable.
I mean, that's an amazing name.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
perfect
yeah.
title for that show. I did. Yes. No. I was very surprised by how little I appeared in Roadies because there was a part of me that kept on being like, I don't think I worked on this, but I feel like I could show up at any moment.
I mean, that was my main problem with Vinyl. I just kept waiting for you to
I
show
know.
back
Same
up.
here. Yeah. No. I would watch episodes and be like, pretty sure I worked on this. It was the opposite of Roadies. I was like, I have a distinct memory of being on set, and yet I'm not in this episode. I had a great time working on Vinyl. I just think what I like about Roadies is.
Omar Epps wasn't in it. Ming Na, Angie Harmon, Jonathan Cake. All right, I'm done talking
That's
about
a great
Inconceivable.
cast.
It aired 2 episodes, 10 are unaired, and will
Wow.
never be seen.
Wow. Even in this Hulu era?
Yeah, maybe Hulu's got it for all you know. Hulu has all those shows.
Yeah, and I know like Hulu has done some of that where like a show gets canceled and they'll be like, well,
You can watch the last 5 on Hulu.
the remaining 5 episodes of Wicked City
Yeah, right.
are a
Oh.
Hulu original
Oh,
now.
I reviewed that
Selfie.
show.
Wicked
That
City.
show was disgusting.
Yeah?
That show was disgusting.
Was it Wicked?
I guess it thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that show was gross.
Was that Ed Westwick and Helena Christensen?
Yeah, Ed Westwick,
Yeah.
Erica Christensen.
Erica Christensen.
Ed Westwick is a serial killer. Erica is his victim who becomes his, minion. A lot of sex. But, ABC, so, you know.
Yeah. So real
Graphic.
Wicked. This episode is ostensibly about Roadies. We seem to be avoiding talking about it.
Yeah, well, okay.
But here's what I like about Roadies. And here's the thing with Roadies. I'll give it a gentleman's 6.
Oh, I'll give it a gentleman's -8.
This is the classic X-Men Apocalypse debate.
I think I'd also give it a gentleman's 6.
Hey,
This is bad. I should have someone on my side. Ben.
Yeah.
Introduce producer Ben. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, introduce him.
producer Ben, the Ben Deucer, the poet laureate, the Mr. Positive, Purduer Ben,
Yep.
the tiebreaker,
Uh-huh.
the birthday Benny, our world's finest film critic. I think we were forgetting one that we introduced a couple episodes back. It was White Hot Benny.
Oh, yes.
White
of
Hot
course.
Benny.
Yes, he's not Professor Crispy. He is the Fuckmaster.
Yeah.
And he's graduated to certain titles over the course of different miniseries, such as Producer Ben Kenobi, Kylo Ben, Ben Night Shyamalan, Ben Sate, and of course Benny Lane.
Of course, the new Benny Lane.
Ben Hosley is here with us.
I
Ben.
feel like in a future episode, we're not going to know what his name is. I think.
his actual name.
Like Benny Lane.
Oh yeah,
I feel like in next week's episode, we hadn't actually decided yet.
Yes.
We've been recording out
our
of order.
timeline's all over the
all
fucking
over
place.
the place. But anyway,
Yeah.
Benny Layne, you said you had some names.
I
for
had
him.
a couple.
I want to.
Lane's got a couple he wants to pitch. Lane, friend of the show. He does his homework. He
That's so nice.
came in with-
I pitched Layne an idea for his next album.
Okay.
I was telling him that they should call it U2, like U2 question mark.
And I like it.
like you too.
Like you too?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the spy planes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. Okay, Lane, would you
Okay.
like to pay back
Well, so you got to
Ben
be
for that great gift?
an avid fan of Roadies probably to get some of
Oh,
these.
these are Roadies specific.
These are
nicknames.
Roadies specific.
Oh boy, you're talking to the. I mean, I'm probably by default now the world's biggest Roadies fan.
Yeah, I think the two of us are. The Staten House Bend.
Yeah, perfect.
Very good.
Really excellent.
Everyone would get it too.
Yeah.
Bennard Skinnard.
Oh, that did
I like
actually.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Producer Ben, but in parentheses, like a music producer.
Sure. Right. Just to make that clear. Yeah.
And then my favorite, Imo Ben Poots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which I felt like you had already come up with, Griffin.
No, I think I
Okay,
have.
good.
Yeah, no, Emma Ben Poots is good. Hey, Lane, I'd like to give you a gift.
Uh-oh.
A 45 comedy point.
Oh, man. I've been waiting
Yeah.
for this.
Ben, you did not like Roadies.
oh, so bad.
yeah. All right. So Ben's with me.
I'm
so we're
on
two
your
against-
side 100%.
We're 2 against 2 on this, okay? What I like about the show is that it is so basic.
It's so basic.
So basic, which is something I already said about We Bought a Zoo in a complimentary way. I like that this show is just kind of like some fucking TV show. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
in,
it
like,
doesn't
this-
feel... It doesn't feel like important in a time where and I mean that in
or
like a
worth our
But I
time.
love that. That's the thing.
yeah, I kind of had the same
TV
feeling.
is too important now.
I don't disagree with that. I know what you guys
I
mean.
like that's like just some
But
show.
I'll take that on a show that's 40 minutes long or 22 minutes long. And,
It
you
is
know,
long.
it's
Every
pretty-
episode
not
is long.
60 minutes long with like multiple offensive storylines. They like come out of nowhere and you're like, whoa, what is this?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I agree with you 100%. There are multiple storylines across the season of this show that are offensive, but there are also multiple storylines that are charming.
Nope.
I just don't get. It's like it's supposed to be a modern portrayal of the music industry, and it's so not.
No,
it's like
it's
a
not.
fucking relic of like 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean the show gets really tone deaf anytime Cameron Crowe tries to comment on the music industry today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's painful.
So, I mean, this is a question I asked you, I think, and Ben in a group text. I can't remember. Or
Uh-huh.
I think we were talking about it maybe last week when we were recording. I
Yeah.
just said, like, what is this show about? Like, and I don't mean, like, obviously it's about, some roadies who work for a band, and every week they're in a new show. But I mean, like, what's the show about? Like, just basic pitch. Like, what's it about? What's it trying to tell us?
Can I tell you?
Go ahead.
The show is about the sky.
If only it was about the sky. I feel like the show is kind of about, like, man, rock and roll's really changed.
Yeah.
And, like, that's it. You
Yeah,
know?
I think
man, things used to be a little different.
See, like I would.
Now we've got cell phones. I don't know. Just putting that out there. Anyway, that's 10 episodes. That's good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like, I mean, but like I kind of enjoyed that. Like
do too.
I think my problem with vinyl, besides Not Enough Griffin, as we've established, is that it was like I wanted to watch like a show about like 70s punk like happening, and like there's that book Please Kill Me that's about
Right.
punk that's amazing. It's like
Great book.
if that had been a TV show, I would have watched the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And like for me, like this was like more at least music based and hit my like
Yes.
great, I'm watching a show about the thing I like.
This is an argument I can get on board.
Yes. So I
get that.
I like that Roadies is like just about the music and the people who work.
Right. And
in
the
that world.
music is boring, largely. That it's
Agreed.
exploring. And so it sort of makes sense that the show that reflects that by being pretty boring.
Agreed. I think a stronger take. I think I'm gonna vomit as I say this.
Oh, no. I've been
This is a
vomiting.
small room.
I've been vomiting this whole time at the other stuff you were saying, so I can't even wait. My eyeballs are going to pop
Wait, should
out.
I get the bucket?
Yeah, get the bucket.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Excuse
Okay.
me.
Listen, we're holding for Ben to get the bucket.
We're holding for Ben to get
We're
the
gonna
bucket.
include this.
Okay. Clunk.
Thanks. Thank you.
Let me just drag this
Should we-
tin bucket over across on this table here.
Look forward to this bit making sense 2 weeks from now, guys. All right. Anyway, but the bucket that's a new blank check item. We've added that item.
Check out the
yeah.
Blank Check store for branded
Get
buckets.
the bucket.
And also, of course, in our
It's for vomiting into when Griffin says something.
in our blank check mobile tap game,
Yes. Oh God.
you can now buy the
had
bucket for 200 coins. The bucket is
we had
available.
the mobile,
The
like-
bucket is available today, and of course, 200 coins will only cost you 75 gems.
I really wish we had one of those pyramid scheme, like, and that it was the worst.
We'll get
it was
there, baby.
like not good.
It'd be
You know,
the
like
worst,
we
yeah.
put no effort into it. We're just like, I don't know, just get Bejeweled, put our faces on it. Griffin and David Blitz.
You know what you could do for Bejeweled? For a Bejeweled style game, is each little emblem is just a small print of one of Ben's nicknames.
Yes.
And you have to match up the nicknames.
That
I
would be
thought it
great.
would just be like falling like comedy points, and like each one would
Yeah.
have like different
Oh, that
numbers.
makes
That could
sense.
be good too.
Yeah.
And these are great endorsement opportunities if anyone is listening and wants to design us a Bejeweled style game.
Yeah, we're ready to sell out, baby.
With serious like price point. Like
Yeah.
I mean serious like gems, coins,
You gotta buy items.
pyramids, buckets, everything. I don't
Only
know.
one request.
What?
Go ahead.
It's got to be big.
It's gotta be big. Game's gotta be big.
Game's got to be big. All right.
I like that this show is about the music and about the people who work in music, which I think was where vinyl lost its way. I think when vinyl worked,
Yeah.
it was when it was focused in that, and when it became about the other stuff, it was just like, that's not why I'm tuning into this show. I like that Roadies stays focused on that enough that I'm
go
able
ahead,
to
go
sort of
ahead.
forgive it in the macro. I forgive it for the things that drove me crazy while I was watching it, because the totality of the series is what I wanted out of this series, and sort of just like, you know, like shoot low, hit your target, you know?
Right.
But I do think there's something to like, the show is sort of trying to be this like, when you ask what it's about these people who don't like fit in, right? Like it's all these people who are like out of time, out of place,
I guess so.
and have to be part of like this traveling circus fucking thing, right? It's sort of like a Cheers type thing where it's like everyone who comes to this bar is inherently broken, because why else would they come to this bar every day? And that's the unifying thing between all the characters, and the same thing with Roadies. It's like, what would make someone want to commit themselves to this kind of life, which is so detached and disconnected from a sort of normal daily human emotional existence and relationships and all of that, right?
Yeah.
There is the problem that Cameron Crowe clearly is still in love with how music existed in the 1970s and the 60s and what it meant to people, and even the 80s to a lesser degree, and even the 90s to a lesser degree, and has no such connection to the music of today, right? And is trying really hard to like explain that. And the show is obviously trying to represent this sort of like contrast between what it used to be a roadie, what the music industry used to be, how it's dying, the Reg character, all of this.
You're losing me.
I do think
What's the bad thing you want to say?
in a way the show would be more interesting if it was about them working on a band they didn't care about.
That might be interesting, yeah. Because it's hard to buy that they care about the fucking Staten House band anyway.
Yes.
Because the Staten House band seems stupid.
Right.
They wrote a song called Janine
Yeah, but
on,
like
get
Cameron
outta
Crowe
here.
is so open-hearted that he's never going to make
Right.
a show about people
about
who.
cynical, people. We live in a cynical world.
Yes.
And we work in a business of tough competitors.
Right. But there's the thing of like he wants to have the moment where the people stand in the back and they're like, wow, music really can change everything. And it's like it would have had to be a more ambitious narrative of a bunch of people who have lost the way finding a way to love music again. But that also would have been a season where for most of the season everyone was like, fuck this, it's dead, it's dead, it's dead. Which obviously the show he
it would
wants to
also
make.
have to be a show in which you see both like the bad band and then whatever good band they end up liking.
Yeah. I think
I don't know.
There should have been like one roadie who hated the band, and then they did like one killer show at the end of the tour, and he was like, "No, all right, guys, I came around,
Yeah, why didn't and then they
No
do,
one came to any sort of conclusion at the end of the
Ray
series,
Wilson's
really.
character, I guess.
Well, yeah.
is,
Yeah.
The, is the cynic who is turned.
Yeah.
All it takes is
Drugs.
and rape.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is this thing of like, so I read this interview where it was an AV Club feature where they like
Don't
talked
point at me. I
to.
don't work for that place.
I was pointing to the wall.
Fair enough.
The wall works for the AV Club.
I was pointing to David. I read this AV Club feature where they talked to a bunch of real life roadies and had them like look at the first two episodes
idea,
and like
sure.
say like, what do you think about this? And they're like, well, first of all, that prayer circle bullshit would never happen.
No, it's so earnest.
And it's such a plot point; it becomes like an
they're
emotional
like,
fulcrum
wait,
of the show.
Are we going to do the prayer circle?
How are we gonna do it? Can
No
Bill step up
one
to the
would
plate?
be. They are grown-ups.
Yeah.
I swear to God. I know that they're, kind of Arrested Development types in
Yeah.
a certain sense. They're a little, childish sometimes, but like they wouldn't need to do the fucking. What are they, babies? Like,
They
Come on, man.
Yes. And I think the one like era where you could sell that is in the 70s, where it's like, you know, or the 60s when there were still the vestiges of like the free love kind of thing, and you could be like, well, everyone's on this spiritual plane. But in this cynical world of fierce competitors that we live in, it doesn't really ring true at all.
Cynical.
Well, I have a
cynical
minor
world.
counterpoint,
Okay.
Shoot.
which almost works.
Shoot.
Which is that earlier this year I was dating a girl who played guitar for a pop singer and was like a huge, big tour and like blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't interact with the Roadies that much, but I did know that the band like kind of had a together like moment before they went on every time.
All right.
And I was not allowed into that as the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Sure,
So I don't know if
that
it was like I don't know if that was like a prayer circle or if it was just like, hey, don't suck up there, you know?
I have an idea.
Uh-huh.
Why isn't this set on Taylor Swift's tour or something? Like, why don't you show that juxtaposition between, like, kind of old rock and roll types and, like,
Ooh, yeah.
an industry that's definitely changed?
I think that's a better show, and I
Yeah.
think the best version of this show would take place in 1983.
Well, yeah. I mean,
know?
that's the problem with, I feel like, a lot of Crowe's stuff, is he's looking backwards.
And I think there's a neither here nor there factor to the show, where it's like he wants to make a show about how much people love music and how much music can bring people together, but also wants to make a show about a culture that is dying, if not already dead. And so he kind of can't have it both ways, because it's like you have a show where everyone's affected by the music, but they're constantly talking about how the music is dead. And it's like, it's kind of one or the other. Like, Stenhouse is like presented as being a very big, very influential band that is critically beloved, but also like commercially successful, has been around for a while, has diehard fans.
And can just be on, like, a perpetual tour around the country.
Right.
That's, like, quasi-profitable, which
Right,
is
and if
pretty
you're
hard to
at
pull
that
off.
level,
Yeah.
they're making a living being musicians,
Right,
obviously.
right.
Everyone on the crew's making a living.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's not, I mean, like, there's either, like you said, go for, like, the Taylor Swift type thing.
Sure.
Or, like,
Really
I think
corporatized.
you
Right,
take, like,
yeah.
a band who's just, like, just made it and they're, like, our age and
Yeah,
they're taking along
Yes.
some, like,
Right.
you know, some Phil type
In that
and
case,
some kids.
you would need to see the band and hear their music.
Right,
because
which
you
they
need to
actively
kinda buy
avoid
into it.
in this.
They avoid it. They don't show us the band. It's kind of like the 30 Rock trick where it's like, you know what? It's not going to seem good if you see it.
I don't think we even meet a member until episode 3, and we're like,
we see. I swear we see
see
a
them
member in episode
performing.
1.
you see because you
No,
see the
doesn't
finger kiss
Doesn't
thing
the
in
guy
episode
roll
2.
in
Yeah, you
episode
do.
1?
Oh, right,
Yeah,
yes,
like rolls
yes.
down the window and he's
Yeah.
like, "We're playing Janine" or whatever.
But like barely, yeah. It's
Barely.
like they give it to us late and in small doses, and they're very peripheral characters. And the band members are probably the least interesting characters on the show whenever they get
yeah.
pulled into the forefront.
And their storylines are the least interesting.
Right, and like even the way that everyone else talks about the Taylor Swift tour on the show,
in
right.
space.
Yeah.
Which Cameron, come on, like you just did your fucking like militarization of space movie, and you're still on this space kick.
So
There's
it is
some-
about the sky.
It is about the sky. It is insane that, like, 5 comedy points. It is insane that, like, right after Aloha,
Thank you.
he made a movie where he made a show where it's like, okay, get back into safe space, Cameron. Music, concerts, on the
nothing
road.
weird, nothing weird.
Nothing weird. And he's like, okay, here's Puna and a space tour. Like, he did, like, 2 of the fucking hits from Aloha. Here's a Hawaiian guy who's in touch with the spirits.
Did
and
not
here's
like
a concert
that,
tour in
by the way.
space.
But
No.
it does have kind of his greatest hits like all over too, because basically the Skinnerd episode is almost famous.
Yes.
essentially, you know,
Yeah.
there's like a lot of like callbacks to his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
a little
weird.
bit of a greatest hits tour, I guess.
We talked about in our Vanilla Sky episode. This is obviously going to be like a pretty freeform
Yeah, well, whatever.
episode because we're not going to go through every
what's
fucking
the,
episode.
What's the name of that movie?
Vanilla Sky.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any comedy points for that? No.
Yeah,
All right.
45.
Okay.
Wait a second. Stop trolling for
Yeah,
comedy
Layne
points.
is really Lane's. This is a
You guys,
thirst
you
trap.
guys got
for
any?
comedy
You
points.
guys got any comedy points up
That's
here?
what those kids talk about right now. Those thirst traps, right?
Yeah.
Lane's a human comedy point thirst trap.
I've got
comedy point
95 just for the
Yeah,
record.
you have, well, I'll say this: when I established comedy points as a bit with originators, co-originators, Sam Regal, Alejandro Collini, and Pat May.
Yep.
One of the rules was, and I'll say this to you, Layne,
Uh-oh.
if you keep track of how many comedy points you have, you lose all comedy points. So, Layne, you unfortunately now have 0 comedy points.
Yeah.
But then I know that I have 0 comedy points. Then do I just keep losing?
You better start
Stop
forgetting.
thinking about it.
Better start forgetting.
That's the thing. You gotta just be in the moment.
It's
Yeah.
all I think about.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna go through.
No, we're not going to go
The-
through like episode by episode. I
I'm
mean, we'll
gonna-
hit certain.
I'm gonna set up the show. I'm going to do it right now.
Wait, but what was the thing I was going to say right before this? I was getting to a really profound point.
Were you?
Vanilla Sky.
Vanilla
yes.
Sky.
Yes, I am. I'm poking
little tap
the
on the
small
hands.
of David's hands right now.
It looks weird.
Yeah, I'm poking the flesh between his thumb and his pointer finger. Richard Lawson said in our Vanilla Sky episode
Yes.
that he feels like that was Cameron Crowe trying to evolve into this realm of, if not magical realism, more genre elements, able to get sort of more fantastical and less literal in his writing, right?
Right.
And that bombed, and it was like, if that had worked, what would have happened? Like, could he have transitioned? Because now you get into the state where it's like Cameron Crowe's neither here nor there. He's trying to replay the hits he used to do. They don't sound as good anymore, right?
No.
And he can't really figure out what the next step to go on to
He's
is.
tried everything now.
But there's a lot of that in Roadies where like you feel him trying to get less literal, where it's like the David Spade sex show is very bizarre, Puna's
bizarre.
very bizarre, the Taylor Swift space tour is very bizarre, and a show that's otherwise like very grounded.
And I think that's where it works best is when it's just like them hanging out and kind of
Agreed.
shooting the shit.
Agreed.
The show functions best as a hangout show.
Now, it's
and
still
just
not
sort
a
of-
show that I would want to watch, but it at least functions. I would watch a 22-minute version of it, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to run through the season a little bit?
The basic premise is there is a band called the Staten House Band, and they have a road crew.
Hold on 1 second. Pow!
Griffin's new thing is drinking tea and yelling "pow."
Sorry, I just shit my pants.
So there's a band. They have a road crew.
Mm-hmm.
They're on tour. Luke Wilson plays Bill.
The great Luke Wilson.
The tour manager of the Staten House Band.
Uh-huh.
And Carla Gugino.
The great Carla Gugino.
Agreed.
I worked with her and I could still never remember how to pronounce her name. I think
Gugino.
it's Gugino.
She's the best. I love her. She's a
She's
big old ball
phenomenal.
of mozzarella. She plays Shelly. I'm going to have to look for their name. Shelly, the production manager.
You know that's on her resume, right? Special skills,
Ball of mozzarella.
accents, big old ball of mozzarella. Mozzarella.
Imogen Poots.
Yep.
The great Imogen
The great
Poots.
Imogen Poots.
Or at least the one day will be great. I don't know. Like I feel like there's an Excalibur
She has greatness
waiting for
within
her.
her.
She does.
In the words of Emma Stone in Aloha. I'm trying to tie it all back. I'm trying to bring every fucking Crow project back in this one episode.
Imogen Poots as Kellyanne Mason, who's the lighting rigger.
Yes.
Rafe Spall.
The great Rafe
I
Spall.
like Rafe
so
Spall.
good in this.
Like he's the best part of the show.
Son of Timothy
As
Spall.
Reg Whitehead, who's like the suit.
He's basically Fitz from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I realized.
He's also
the finance
another
man.
role I
He would have
auditioned for.
played
Yeah.
Fitz 10 years
Really?
ago.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Wait, what'd you say?
I auditioned for Fitz.
Oh, of course you did.
Yeah. Also, he is clearly playing the local hero character, which is why they keep on referencing that movie fucking 50,000 times over the course of the show.
Yeah,
right.
he's playing
Yeah.
the local hero. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, while we're on references, how many times does someone say, "Oh, you look good," especially to Luke Wilson?
A lot.
Like 50 times.
A
Someone's
lot.
like, "Bill, you look good."
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, other main characters.
Keisha Castle Hughes, the lovely Keisha Castle Hughes.
Yes,
As Donna Mancini.
a character that doesn't exist.
She's the soundboard girl. She's in scenes.
I think she's good in it.
She's a totally good presence.
She brings a lot of charm to the 3 lines she has.
Doesn't really do much.
That's what I'll say.
Does she have a plot line in the entire
Her-
season?
They fight, her and her wife, and
Yeah.
they have a baby.
Her wife
Yeah.
is pregnant and she knows secrets. She's able to infer what people aren't
Right.
saying. Sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly.
So can everyone on the
Yeah.
show, basically.
But I'll say this: like, I was kind of really taken aback by how strong her performance was. A, because we haven't seen her in a while, and B, because she's like spinning nothing into like gold.
She is. I mean,
But she's got some good.
Not into gold, but into at least like thread.
I was trying to use the straw into gold metaphor, but like the idea of like she's given nothing to do,
No, she's
and she
given
actually is like a pretty compelling presence on the show.
Peter Cambor
Yes.
as Milo,
Yeah.
the bass
Also
guitar
great.
tech.
Also, yeah, I think really
Again,
excellent on
but
the show.
nothing to do. But cute.
Yeah, it's got some good moments. He's more spotlight.
Colson Baker as Wes Mason.
Also known as Machine Gun Kelly, also known as MGK.
Guitars, people, and coffee.
Right, the
That's
role
his,
I auditioned for.
Machine Gun Kelly, who I had only ever seen in Beyond the Lights.
Right, which he was.
Which he's quite good in.
Yep.
But he's playing a trash man.
He's playing a trash man.
And I didn't know that he could not play a trash man.
Yeah,
So good for him.
yeah. I think he's very good in this show.
And Ron White, and we were discussing this before.
Yes.
I believe he has 15 minutes total screen time in the entire season.
I go 25.
I don't think so. As Phil, the king of the road, who is I guess that he's in charge. I don't know. He's like their mentor.
He's the old hand.
He's the old hand.
And he's sort of in charge.
He has a pistol.
Yep.
He's murdered people.
He's committed many crimes.
Yeah.
He is fired at the end of the first episode, and he shows up back
For embezzling in the wake of Hurricane Katrina.
Yep. And then he shows up back at the end of the 7th. He's in the 8th episode where he tells a story, and he's not really in it. He's in the 9th episode. Then he perishes.
Uh-huh.
Of
Spoilers.
death.
Yeah, on this episode.
And then in the 10th episode, Ron White plays this guy as an embalmed version of himself, taxidermied, standing with his arms open so that the rest of the cast can hug him.
There are 2 earlier moments in other episodes where he Skypes in through a bad connection from space.
That's correct, yes. Just FYI.
Because let's just clearly explain
he is
this.
in space, yes.
There is a rival
we're
tour
not kidding.
that is losing crew members that is called the Planet Swift Tour, and it's not like a joking title. It's literally they're trying to colonize a new planet of Taylor Swift fans. It's a Taylor Swift tour that happens in fucking space.
Yeah.
Which, you see, I guess it feels like, I feel like I was talking about this with Aloha. Like John Krasinski's character talking through subtitles.
Right.
Or whatever. I feel like Cameron Crowe will just be like, that's really funny. You know, like he'll think, he's like, what if Taylor Swift was literally in space?
Which is like
that'd be funny, right?
The dead sex thing has to be like him
another one.
thinking this is hilarious.
Yeah, he's like flicking through the channels. He's like, what's next? Like a zombie sex soap opera? Ha! Putting it in Roadies.
Written by and
Hey,
starring noted sexual dramatic actor David Spade. He's also the writer of the show they set up. First of all, they keep on saying, like, David Spade looks good.
Yeah, everyone looks good on the show.
Everyone looks good. This is a show of people looking good.
Yeah, we'll get to dead sex. But anyway, so that's the main cast. You also got Finesse Mitchell bouncing around.
Wait, I want to get back to Planet Swift.
Oh yeah, sure.
So
go
like,
right
what
ahead.
is like? Let's just. What are the logistics of this? Is she playing?
Yeah,
does she go to the moon and play a show?
If you join that tour, do you have to get on a space shuttle? Like, what?
Right.
How do you get there?
Right.
How does the people get? How do the audience
And
members
it's like
get
Phil
there?
gets fired.
Has Earth colonized the moon in this like future? Like.
Phil gets fired and within like 3 days is working on the Planet Swift tour.
By the end of the episode, he's already on that tour.
Right, but it's like, wouldn't he have to go through training and like medical tests and like, I know he's not an astronaut, but like, even when people are talking about SpaceX and Virgin Galactic and whatever,
it's still,
part of the thing is you have to do all this due diligence, even if you
also,
bought your
it would
ticket.
cost like $80,000 or something. Like,
and is the idea that they're just live streaming the shows from space, or are they performing for space stations, or is she doing a fucking alien
Is she
tour?
on the International Space Station? That
I don't
would
know.
make
This is
some
what I was
sense.
thinking about.
Did she build her own spaceship?
Possible.
You know what? I'd watch that show too.
Me too. Planet Swift.
Planet Swift. Anyway, Finesse Mitchell's
Can I
hanging out.
Can I just add something really quick?
Anything, though.
Thank you.
Say anything.
Great. ... So I feel like this part is making me think, especially it's like his commentary on sort of like the bigger acts of like contemporary music, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and he's saying that
the Biebs.
they're all about costumes and
It's like
lighting
stunt-driven
and
rather than about the
explosions.
music. Yeah.
You know what though, man? I kind of like that. There's these giant stadium acts, and they're making it worth the money you pay to see them.
I do too.
I don't need to necessarily see like 5 old guys standing around playing music necessarily. That's not as entertaining as maybe a Beyonce show would
But
be.
it is the Cameron Crowe.
Fuck Cameron Crowe.
Yes.
Set it on record.
That's very clear. I want to get that on record. Fuck Cameron Crowe
Cam
for this bullshit.
Cameron.
No.
I liked it.
Yeah, I get it.
Gentleman's
I get it,
six.
guys. Gentleman's minus 50.
I agree with you, Ben. I mean, there's that like argument when people complain about like, you know, oh, I can't believe this movie cost this much money. The kind of argument is like your ticket costs the same way either way. Like, wouldn't you rather see the movie with more money behind it? I'm not behind wasting money, but it's like, what's the problem with like trying to put on that much of a show, especially when concerts are this expensive?
Yeah.
He's obviously trying to comment on that, but it's like it's a little too crazy to throw the space thing in and never really explain the logistics of it. And I also agree that the show could have kind of worked if it was like them on the road with a massive Taylor Swift act, and it's like, we used to be the people for bands like this, and now this is all that's left.
Sorry. I was yawning. It wasn't at you.
Yeah.
I was just tired.
They can still love the music, but have it be like so much more commercialized and, you know, corporatized and whatever, that it's a little disconnected. Finesse Mitchell plays a financial manager who appears in 2 episodes.
Is he just in 2?
I think he's in 3,
No,
maybe.
he's in a few.
There's a bunch where he's not in them at all.
He's not a credited main cast. But
He's like a guest star and not even like a single billed guest star, yet he made the bus ads. Do you remember in New York they had those buses that were
you know why he made
wrapped in roadies? Because
He's the only black character on the show.
Yep. And they were like, look, diversity. And it's like,
Nope.
oh, way, way, way down on the cast list.
Yeah, they've got a black recurring actor. They have Keisha Castle Hughes, who is at least
Maorian?
part Maori. Yes.
Right, yeah. You had Luis
Look-
Guzman, who's in 3
Luis
episodes.
Guzman shows up occasionally as the bus driver. Gooch! He has one episode, I feel like, where he gets to do stuff, which is the Cincinnati episode.
Yeah.
Also, they don't bring him in for the finale.
No. Nope.
Which
No.
seems like an
I don't know, maybe
oversight.
Maybe his quote was high.
And then you got Puna.
Well, the finale, we needed 8 performances by fucking Jackson Brown or
Yeah.
whoever the hell. It wasn't Jackson. You know,
It was Jackson
No,
Brown.
It was
Yeah, it was
Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown.
You got Puna, too.
Yeah, you got Puna. You got the band. I mean, they're played by like a bunch of guys. I don't know.
But these, yes. I mean, you know.
You got this lady, Joy Williams plays Janine,
Janine.
The famous Janine.
who is inspiration for the hit song Janine, and has a plot line in which exposes all the women on the main cast are nice, but a lot of the like sort of women in the sort of
Yes.
outer
The
circle.
guest star women are conniving.
Yeah.
Also, almost everyone in the outer circle is conniving.
Yeah, that's a
That
good
is
point.
true.
I mean, yeah, I do feel like Cameron Crowe's like all the main characters. What's their thing going to be? They're going to be nice.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know. They're nice. They're nice people. And so it's like every week someone has to come in and kind of be a dick just for something.
but
to happen.
cartoonishly dickish.
Yeah, like behave in a way that makes no sense just to have a little bit of story, a little
Which
bit of tension.
also gets to like the We Bought a Zoo thing of like some people are in like a Cameron Crowe dramedy and some people are playing to like the rafters. Like, you know, you have like Rainn Wilson's performance, which is the worst episode of this series, no matter. like,
it's
unquestionably.
It's abhorrent.
Yes.
Abhorrent.
That's the worst character, that's the worst plotline, that's the worst episode, and he's playing it so fucking big.
Yeah, well, Rainn Wilson's a bad actor.
He can be very good.
Yeah, he can.
You need to direct him well.
When's he good?
The Office.
I
Like
think,
the good season of The Office, except when he went too big.
right. The
And
good season of
then-
The Office, yeah.
And what else we got?
I thought he was very good in Super.
Yes,
I like
agree,
Super a
I
lot.
agree, yeah.
He's
Super's
great
good.
and almost
I
famous in his
Yes.
line.
I think
Yeah. No,
Oh, and
no, he's terrible at Almost Famous. Wait a second.
Galaxy
He's terrible in
Quest?
that.
Galaxy Quest is straight in.
I mean, I love Galaxy Quest. I love
Everyone comes away from
but
that
some-
movie talking about Rainn Wilson's performance.
Yeah,
remember-
everyone after seeing Galaxy Quest wanted to make it rain.
But you remember Juno when it's like
1,000 comedy
I-
points for that.
I'm a big fan of Juno.
I can do
I am
that,
too.
right?
But that first scene of Juno
Almost derails the
it
entire
really
movie.
like a lot of people I feel like just get off the train there and they can't get back on.
Yeah, I feel like you have to rein him in.
Yeah.
He's a wild horse that you gotta. I didn't even mean that one.
But
Wow.
it's true. But what was that show he was on where he's like, I'm a jerk.
Backstrom?
Solve crimes, though.
Detective Backstrom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you let Rainn Wilson do what he finds funny, it's like
It's weird.
it's catastrophic.
We are all members of Soul Pancake, though.
That is true.
I
Obviously.
just want to rip on his weird.
But I thought he was excellent in Super, where it's
He's
clearly
good in
James
Super.
Gunn knew exactly what
It's
he
a
wanted.
good-
Him
that's a
very
good movie.
focused. I think when he was good on The Office, he was great, and when he was bad, the show like crumbled.
I agree.
Because he would get way too big, and all reality would like disappear.
Yeah, he was the weapon they had, and I think they used him too much.
Especially post Corral, like when
Oh,
they
well.
leaned on him way
Post-Corral,
too
that
much,
show
it was
is
a nightmare.
unwatchable,
Right.
yeah.
And he was good in Hesher too. I don't know if you saw Hesher.
I didn't.
Yeah, he was good in that too.
He was bad in The Rocker.
Didn't see it.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean,
It's called Roadies.
it's called Roadies. A catastrophic decision to hire him to play this character, a character that was already catastrophically written.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can entirely blame Rainey for that one because it is a bad character.
I think he made it worse.
Yeah, he did. No, he did.
I think he made it
So
worse.
just as the way that the great, what's her name?
Which one?
Jesus, TC14. Lindsay Duncan.
Lindsay Duncan.
The great Lindsay Duncan did as much as she could with that awful critic character in Birdman. Made it maybe a little better than it could have been.
Correct.
You know, maybe Rainn Wilson plays that character. Maybe that's a weirder scene.
This is an excellent point. That character was horribly written in Birdman.
Right.
Lindsay Duncan acts it
Basically
so
pulls it
well
across the
that,
line.
that you almost believe that she's an actual human being, despite everything she's saying being like clearly the prop up of like, you know, a filmmaker just being angry and thinking that all critics are like soulless sociopaths, right?
Right.
Rainn Wilson like fucking takes a balloon they give him and then just adds more and more air into it. Like he blows it up so much. Here's the thing. Here's a general lesson, and we've now like come across this a couple of times.
Here's general lesson. Don't watch Roadies. Go ahead.
David,
Gentleman 6.
a gentleman said. You
Lock
said
the
it.
gates. I just thought it'd be funny to say it.
Yeah, pal. A lesson I think we have learned time and time again, and it's come up even a number of times on this very show. Hey, filmmakers, don't make characters that are critics who hate everything and get off on hating everything,
especially
because your last movie wasn't well received.
Yeah, especially if you had a couple bad reviews recently.
Never fucking works.
Doesn't know.
Lady in the Water, fuck you.
It's
Birdman, fuck you. Roadies, fuck you. Anytime any property gets into that, especially when it's a filmmaker who feels spurned by their most recent work.
1998's Godzilla?
Yes. Yeah. It is the Achilles heel of that thing, whether or not the thing works on its own. That is always the weakest element. What is the only good depiction of a critic I can think of in the last 25 years?
I don't know.
Ratatouille.
Oh, so good.
And why?
Because
Brad Bird didn't have an axe to grind.
No, he didn't have an axe to grind because he's perfect.
Right.
He's never gotten a bad review in his entire life, and why should he?
But that movie feels like, Tomorrowland, which we both love, but it did get bad reviews. That came later.
Yeah.
But I'm saying at that point in time, he had only ever gotten good reviews. He was, in fact, a critic's darling before he was successful or acclaimed. Sure. And that's him trying to deconstruct the way that other movies and TV shows villainize critics into, I get off on hating things. He's going
we should do a Brad Bird series.
We will 100%. It's just a matter of, I feel like we want one more movie before
Come on,
we
Birdie.
do him.
Well, he's working on Incredibles 2. That's not out till, 2019 or something.
Maybe we'll do it to coincide with Incredibles 2.
All right.
We'll keep our show going.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, that character works because he's, showing, no, critics do want to like things.
Anyway,
and it's tough.
We're way off topic. Jesus
The
Christ.
fucking Newman character played by Rainn Wilson is, disastrous.
Right,
and that episode, he comes in, and it's this doesn't make sense. His role within the music scene doesn't make sense.
No. There's no one with that much power in the music industry.
All right, okay, so I guess let's just leap ahead, because whatever. I was setting up the show, but there's nothing to set up. They're a band. There's stuff happening.
Shit happens.
We'll get to stuff. So
Lots of sexual tension.
One thing that happens is a blogger.
Yeah.
A blogger. You guys heard of those? Remember those things from 2008?
And it's not like he says he's not a blogger.
Yeah.
He goes in that dumb speech about, a blogger is one who types their words, I'm the this and the that, and the fucking whatever.
A music blogger.
Yes.
I guess he's supposed to be Pitchfork. I don't know what he's
supposed to be. But he's supposed to be one person who is
I
so
understand.
Yeah,
I mean,
it makes no sense.
The closest thing I would think is Bob Lefsetz, who writes a weekly
Never heard
letter.
of him.
Really?
But he writes a weekly letter.
He writes about the music industry, but also other stuff, and it's a well-read thing. But
okay.
I also feel like he's also Cameron Crowe's age, and is always old music was great. So I feel like it's not him.
No, because this guy's hit on the State and House Band is that they're dad rock. Boom! He nailed him.
But that
they're crumbling.
That they used to be good.
I guess so.
He implies that he used to like them, which is it doesn't make sense. It feels like they're either the kind of band that he would view as shitty pablum from the get go. I say without ever having heard their music,
right.
But the way they're presented on the show, or the show's supposed to show that they're Arcade Fire and they're critical darlings or whatever the fuck it is. But there's no guy like this who even the Lefsetz guy you mentioned, I haven't fucking heard of him. I'm sure he's influential and well-read, but this show presents him as goes Newman, so goes the nation.
Yeah.
They get the email and they're fuck, our tour is ruined.
Right.
Newman trashed us.
There's no person with that power.
Right.
No, Pitchfork doesn't have that power.
Right.
He's trying to make him a Lance Bangs figure, but even Lance Bangs was known for being an underground figure at the time.
No one buys music anymore. It's what the fuck is this even about?
Are people not going to go to the tour now? It doesn't matter. So they read this bad review in which he called him dad rock. And after 20 minutes of Luke Wilson crying.
YouTube video.
Yeah, watching.
Right, he watched a YouTube video of fucking concert.
Doesn't go see them.
They're mad. And so
furious.
They're
furious.
You know how to deal with this? We're going to ignore it and not care about it. No, that's not what they do. They say, let's invite him to the show, roll out the red carpet for him, accidentally get him drunk and drugged.
Well, they put weed in his cappuccino.
And then a lady has sex with a crazy person has sex with him.
Right, their stalker, obsessive.
What's her name?
I forget. Who
Natalie
the wife?
Something?
Yeah.
Natalie Shane, right.
Yes.
Yeah, she's played by Jacqueline Byers. And then he's going to humiliate himself on stage and admit I'm not a critic. I'm a loser.
He gets on stage naked and is I listen to dad rock. I love it. And then when cool people pull up, I change the station to hip hop.
Yeah.
Which makes me think
I guess.
Someone really must have pissed off Cameron Crowe.
Yeah,
some blogger
That's
really.
the problem with all these
Did someone
fucking
make
critic
fun
characters.
of his liner notes? Was it some what happened?
The thing I don't like about all these critic characters when people create them is they always make them sound like they're disingenuous or they're lying to themselves. And it's like the Birdman woman has an axe to grind where she's like, I haven't even seen it. I know I hate it because I don't like big famous actors.
Yeah. She's
And
like,
this guy's like, I'm going to trash the music that I think I'm supposed to not like, but secretly I like all that music.
Right.
You know, it's like presenting them all as being insincere, and it's like, yeah, but Cameron Crowe, you loved critics after Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, no,
You know?
he's full of shit.
And he was a rock writer. He was a
Right.
critic.
He was a fucking cultural
Now,
critic.
the other thing about this, and I'll use this to segue into my next point,
Yeah.
is that the show kind of treats all of this like it's like some cute misadventure, right? It's like, oh, he got like drugged against his will and sort of sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Like, ha ha ha, you know, like,
He deserved it.
All in a night's roadieing.
Right.
You know, and this show's on Showtime.
Yeah.
So you can say fuck. Yeah. And you can have a pair of breasts.
Yeah, you could show Rainn Wilson's butt cheeks.
Yeah, you know, you can do it all.
Fat butt cheeks.
And I feel like sometimes, I don't know, you know, you used to hear back in the day that these premium networks would be like, can we get some nudity in here? You know, whatever. Like, just anything. Just do it, you know?
Which Roadies does like 4 minutes into episode.
Yeah, I wanted to
Well,
talk
that's
about
what
this
that's what
too.
I wanted to segue
Okay.
to. So, and it feels like Cameron Crowe is either obeying this, or more likely, I would guess, he's trying to be cool, like almost, you know, he's like trying to be kind of edgy and gross, and it comes off so badly.
So badly. And it
it's
also
the worst thing about the show.
Yes, and this show does a thing I hate, which is like all the sort of young groupie type women they meet, or like the women that Luke Wilson sleeps with, or all of these sort of peripheral young millennial characters who are usually the ones who end up showing nudity on the show,
Yep.
are all presented as so stupid and vapid.
Like so idiotic.
Any
So
millennial.
idiotic that they would sleep with Luke Wilson, which I'm sorry, but no way.
And I hate the way the characters are written, and then they also were cast and played by actors who are clearly making fun of the characters they're playing, which is a big pet peeve of mine. Like, when there's stupid characters and things, I like when people play stupid characters affectionately. But when I feel like the actor is mocking the character they're playing, it grosses me out.
Yeah.
And, like, this show does a lot of that, where, like, that fucking opening scene is, like, Carla Gugino, like, storms into the room,
This is
Luke
the worst.
Wilson.
And it is the worst. It's
Yes.
the high point of badness, except for the gross, weird Rainn Wilson stuff.
Yeah.
The pilot is very bad.
The pilot's
Pilot
really
is
fucking
so
tough.
bad. I mean,
Yeah.
and this is the thing. I feel like these days networks, and so I have gotten emails from network people where they're like, you know, I know the pilot's really bad, but just watch, you know, a few more. Like, they'll say to me, like, I know it starts out bad. You can't do that. People won't watch the show, especially something like this.
Well, but here's
on a Netflix
yes.
or an Amazon or whatever, where it's like you can, you know, the queue up the next episode kind of automatically.
Sure, yes.
Maybe. But this like premiered on a Sunday night, you know? People might tune in, they'd be like, that was shitty. I'm not going to watch that again.
I mean, doing pilots is rough because you don't really understand like what you're doing until after you've done it to a degree, right?
Are you speaking from experience?
Yeah, maybe so. As someone who's done like a lot of pilots, you know, like, and if things come together well, there's like a chance, you know, there's an element of luck on your side, and like realistically, you want your pilot to be your worst episode you ever do. You just don't want your pilot to be bad.
Right.
But you want to be able to like hit the ground running from there on out. It is different, like a binge culture where it's like, I mean, with a Netflix show, certainly they're mapping out the whole season from the get-go. They're not filming the pilot beforehand. So like the pilot is just part one of a 10-part series. Like they, you know, can make it a cohesive thing rather than like having to like do the one. You put all the pressure on, like as a pilot, you're not just like creating a show reel for audience members, but you're creating a show reel for like the network to pick it up. So you have to like promise a lot of shit and like overstuff it to like get people on board.
Right.
So I like when you're saying like you can't really do that, it's like, well, I mean, like that's a remnant of like the studio system where it's like the network system where it's like it's hard to fucking make a pilot good. That having been said, this pilot's notably bad. That having been said, notably, this pilot was shot with Christina Hendricks playing the Carla Gugino role.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's interesting.
And
And they got rid of her?
yeah. Which was
Why?
very bizarre, and it was like the show's going in a different direction.
Huh.
And then I read an interview with Cameron Crowe when the show premiered, and they said, what happened with Christina Hendricks? And he went, look, it was just like as the show was going, we just realized she wasn't fitting in with the tone of the show anymore. I think she's an incredible actress. It really bummed me out. I'm definitely going to work with her again. I thought she was incredible. You wonder how much of that is spin. But it did sound like, you know, Gugino fits very well in this role.
Yes.
I also would see Christina Hendricks fitting well in this role. I can't see how she wouldn't fit in.
because there's no dimensionality to the role, and basically it's just you kind of have to be kind of charming. Both of them are charming actresses.
And are serious-minded and are believable as professional people who can get things done.
Right,
they have authority on
character.
screen, I was going to say.
Here's the character.
Yeah.
She's like the mommy, I guess, and she's just sort of like knowing smile, tilted the head.
But that's also
slight nod.
all Luke Wilson does in this show. Is he's either like slightly grimacing if he's
Excuse
upset.
me, did you just imply that Luke Wilson does something on this show?
I think
He
Luke Wilson
does not. No,
is
do not defend him.
charming.
Luke, Ben, I need you.
Yeah.
How's Luke Wilson on the show?
He's just nothing. I don't know.
Also, I
I love
think
this idea that I could it's like Marvel versus Capcom. I can suddenly Ben'll swing in.
Okay, can I set up a new rule, though? If you want Ben to back you up, you have to do it by whispering Enchantress.
Enchantress.
Okay, cool.
Forgot about
while
that.
you're sleeping.
Yeah. Enchantress.
I didn't like it as bad.
Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad, though.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense that the pilot is as disastrous as it is.
Yeah.
Because they shot the pilot I want to say 2 years ago. I remember auditioning for it a while ago.
Wow. Okay. All right. I believe it.
And then there was the reshoots, which happened after the fact, and then I think it took them a while to do the season, and the season was on the shelf for a little while. The whole show was a long process.
Mm-hmm.
I think that explains a little bit about why the pilot is so disjointed, because they had to reshoot 50% of it.
Yeah, but I don't even think the problem with the pilot is that, although I know what you're talking about. It's more just what I'm talking about, which is there's no strong premise.
No.
There's no real hook for why you'd want to watch more of this.
None of the characters are compelling in the pilot episode.
No.
And in fact, most of them are off-putting in the pilot episode.
It ends with a montage of famous movies,
which he's
Aloha
already
again,
done twice. And he did it in
then
Vanilla
he did it
Sky,
in fucking
too.
Vanilla Sky, that does not make any sense, even in the tenuous plotting of the show.
And you're supposed to believe that, that montage is indicative of her skills as a filmmaker, which are so strong that Spike Lee himself offered her a full scholarship.
Yeah,
to
because
go to
she's
NYU Film
watched
School.
movies and taken clips from them.
Right. She re-edits clips from other shit.
Great.
Spike Lee wants her to go to NYU really badly.
Spike Lee?
They say that at one point that Spike Lee's been leaving.
I think I heard it as Spike Jones, and I just didn't put that together.
She got a Spike Lee scholarship, and they say at one point after she doesn't show up to school that she's like, I've been getting voicemails from Spike Lee asking where I am.
Man, Spike Lee's thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thirst trap.
Yep. Kellyanne.
Yeah.
Imogen Poots, a darling. I love her.
A lovely actress. Not given enough to do. I think, look, he cast a bunch of very good actors, right? People who have meat and potatoes chops, but also all are sort of naturally charismatic in the main cast of the show.
Yes.
And I think a lot of this show is about sort of the communal interaction thing. All the characters are two-dimensional, unquestionably, right? There is no fully realized character on this show.
I was going to take issue with the fact that you're saying all of them are two-dimensional. Some of them have two
Some of them are one-dimensional.
Yes,
Yes.
and some are zero-dimensional.
But I'm saying the most well-developed characters on this show are two-dimensional.
Definitely. And I would say probably Rafe Spall and Imogen Poots' characters
Are the most developed?
probably, right? Would you say? I don't know. Who else would you
But
put
even
up
they
there?
kind of shift from
They do.
episode to
Oh,
episode.
they do.
I think Luke Wilson's character is kind of well-developed.
There's no... tell me one thing about his character.
I think
He's an older guy who can't stop fucking up and fucking around.
Yeah, I think
and he's got to learn his lesson, which is sleep with the most wonderful woman in the world who works with you.
She is wonderful.
The show thinks it can wring a 10-episode arc out of Will They, Won't They with Luke and Carla.
But I like that they do in episode 5.
You do?
Yeah.
But then
That they don't do 10 episods of Will They, Won't
Yes,
They.
they do, though. They somehow turn it into 10 episodes, because they do in 5, but then there's uh-oh, she's married. I don't know. What are we going to do?
You're doing a lot of desk
I'm
clicking.
flapping my hands, because it's like the show is trying to lift its hands up, and then it's just it's too tired.
No, see, I like that they just get it over with and then,
Yeah, get it over with 5 hours in. Yeah, just get
Hey,
it over
David,
with.
you try to load in and load out for a concert. They're tired.
They should be sleeping together, in episode 1, or married, or whatever. They're a good team.
Yeah.
I don't care about them getting together or not. I assume they will.
Right.
There's no tension to it.
Literally in the first episode that we don't get any them like having a connection. We just
No.
get Finesse Mitchell being like, "There's something going on between you two,"
in the first,
which is the most he gets to do in the show.
In the whole show.
In the
Yeah.
first scene, and I think we touched on it, but we didn't exactly. Like Luke Wilson is having sex with a young Asian woman with pierced nipples,
Right, who is very stupid.
and the camera like can't stop staring at her nipples.
Yep.
And Carla walks in on them. I'm not going to use their character names. Carla Gugino.
She's in the bathroom, the girl he was fucking. Carla
Yeah,
Gugino
right.
walks in and is like, "Red alert, can we talk?" And Luke Wilson's like, I don't know, right now is not. And then
Yeah,
she
right.
That
just,
was really good.
thank you.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Thank you.
When you watch this, you kind of remember, like, yeah, he's Owen Wilson's brother. They really do sound alike.
They
Especially
sound
more
so
so
much
now
alike.
than they
yeah,
ever
even
did
though they
before.
don't really look alike. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's a resemblance, but like, you know, they're very different looking people, but they really sound alike.
I guess I should just like full disclosure. I'm like way in the pocket for Luke Wilson. I felt that he was the most underrated guy of that group, of the sort of slack pack
I don't appreciate it.
scene.
I love Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
Love Luke Wilson.
Yes.
He's great in other things, not this.
I think he's very.
I
winning
think
in
they
that.
I would have
wanted.
nominated for an Oscar, for 2 Emmys, at least.
What were the?
Enlightened. So good on
Oh, I
Enlightened.
haven't watched Enlightened.
Incredible performance.
And you would have given him Best Supporting Actor for Royal Tenenbaums?
No, for the Verizon ads, yeah. Remember the Verizon ads where you're just like, did someone add another face of poundage to his face? Like his face suddenly got so fat.
Well, see, I kind of like his look now because it was like he used to be really, really handsome, right, when he was young. And then Verizon ads, it was like, oh, he's been injecting like vodka under his skin. Like he cut slits into his face and has been pouring vodka directly under his skin.
Verizon, look at the map. So much red.
Right.
Like, what was even his bit on the
Yeah,
Verizon?
and now I like that he like kind of got it back together. I think he kicked the bottle, and he looks like just a little worn out. Like he looks like a worn out handsome guy.
He looks like a roadie.
He looks like a roadie.
someone who conceivably did this for 20 years.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think that history of the character kind of works, where it's like he was a guy who got by on his charm for a very long time. Like he was friends with the band, everyone loved him, and he was kind of a fuck up, and everyone knew he was an alcoholic. And when he sees everyone, they're like, wow, we had some crazy times. You're not still drinking, are you? Like they immediately are kind of like, you were the best. Please tell me you're not doing that anymore. Like they realize
You look
that
good,
like
Bill.
that was good. You look good. That it wasn't sustainable, and he's now like trying to figure out how to be an adult, like still kind of in slow motion. You know,
Yes.
He's got the heart, he's got the head.
Yeah.
He's,
How old do you think Luke Wilson is now?
in real life?
Yeah.
43.
44.
Hey,
Pretty good.
pretty good. How old's Owen Wilson? Older or younger?
That's a good question,
Right?
actually. This can be a little game. Does anyone want to tell me how old Owen Wilson is?
I'm going to say 41.
I'm gonna guess 46.
And then the third one is
39.
Andrew, right?
Yeah.
There's Andrew.
I think he's the oldest.
I think he's like 48.
I think so too.
A lot of numbers being thrown out there. But you know what's not
None of them
working?
are comedy points.
The Wi-Fi. All right, we'll get back to Owen Wilson. Keep
15
talking.
comedy points to the Wi-Fi network here.
Oh, he's 47, Owen Wilson.
Hey,
Wow.
So he's older.
I
Wow.
was 1
That's
year off
pretty
on
old.
both. Yeah.
Pretty old for Owen Wilson.
Yeah, that's pretty old for Owen
Andrew
Wilson.
52.
Yeah.
Wow, I was way off.
So
Yeah.
Luke was the baby.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what's kind of crazy is that Ron White on this show, they present him as like such a veteran, the old timer. Do you know how old he is?
I don't know.
59.
Really?
He looks older.
Yeah.
Good for him. I
Yeah.
don't know what to say.
I mean, my dad is like, I think 5 years older than Ron White now. And my dad, if he had a heart attack on a Showtime original series, they'd be like, that guy looks too young to have a heart attack. And like with Ron White, with like Phil's character on this show, you're just like, Jesus, I can't believe it didn't happen earlier.
So we're jumping all around, but I just
Yeah.
want to. Well, I guess we finished on the stupid sex scene at the beginning of it. It's just it's off to a bad
Oh,
start.
she storms in and she's like, "Gotta talk to you about something." And then from the bathroom, the pierced nipple lady goes like, "Oh my God, I came so hard."
The show has such a weird way of talking about sex and
Very
showing
weird.
sex. And it's also just like, it was like the first episode, it's like, look at these tits. And then like later
Right,
in the
right,
episode,
right.
you see more. And then
Yeah,
like,
there's another.
Yeah, there are a total of 4
and then
tits
also
in the
a-
first episode.
What's the stalker deep throats a microphone in the
Yeah,
first episode?
and then-
right,
which
which
is
is a really
terrible.
horrible.
And she
scene.
also sticks in between her legs.
I
Yeah.
believe so. She
That-
does a sexy dance with a microphone, essentially.
but then the moment Rainn Wilson gets naked, they're like, no, don't show his dick. Like, oh,
Yeah,
we just got to show his butt.
You see a lot of his butt.
I don't want to see his dick. I
I
don't.
want to see Rainn Wilson's dick out of curiosity.
If he's got a nice dick, I'll see it.
But no, it like goes through comically hysterical lengths to like hide
Yes.
it. Like he's just
Yeah,
like
oh,
there's
yeah.
like a person in front of him.
They
and,
do the
like,
Spy Who Shagged Me credits.
Yeah, and it was like
They do. There's a rabbi and a priest, and they're like breaking some bread.
like I mean, if you're gonna make him this guy, like just like give him a fake like tiny dick, like really just
Right.
like top it off
lean
and be
into
like,
it. Yeah. It's very bizarre, and then the tits kind of go away like as the season goes on. It
Yeah,
really
there's not
feels
really much more sex or nudity in the show.
But you get
after that.
Carla's like weird phone sex thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
That whole episode where she like hugs a guy and is like, "Ooh, if only I could have sex."
I did.
Yeah.
I see. That's I
There's
do.
that. I guess it's episode 5 is the one
Yes.
that starts with her
Supermoon.
watching.
Yeah.
Is
Which
it-
makes
she's-
everyone horny, as we all
Yep.
know.
It's fucking. It's another Vanity Fair article he read probably. Supermoons make people horny. Yeah, great. Put it in Roadies. Can have a whole episode.
I kind of like the structure of that episode where it's like, oh boy, her husband, she hasn't seen him in a while. She's getting real horny, Supermoon, and then you think she's gonna hook up with one of the two cute guys, cute little boys,
Right.
and then sneak out.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah. She hooks
Did
up
you
with
really think
gross
she
old
was
Lukey
gonna?
Wilson.
I
Yeah.
thought I was all
Yeah.
in on Luke. I was
I
like,
was
this
like,
is
come
time.
on.
I didn't think she was gonna hook up with Luke in that episode. I thought that was they were saved for later in the season.
Nah, I was like, all right, get it over with already. Jesus. News Radio, the greatest television show ever made. Do you agree?
I think it's way up there. I saw you tweet that recently. You're now on a kick. You've put News Radio up to number 1.
Guys,
I
I've
don't know.
never,
It's
I've
the
never
best.
seen it.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
It's
you
great.
would love
the
News
problem with
Radio.
News Radio is it's not easily watchable on the streaming medias right now. It used to be on Hulu, but it's gone.
Yeah,
Sucks.
and I remember for a while it was on Crackle, but they'd only have like 5 random episodes
Yeah,
at any
right.
time from across different seasons.
Crackle still exists?
Oh,
baby.
excuse me. Crackle's new show, Startup with Adam Brody, next week or something. I can't remember.
They're crackling. They got a bunch
They
of
are
new
not.
Crackle originals.
Let me tell you, they are not crackling.
Crackling, baby.
So, what was I talking about? Totally. Oh, News Radio.
Yeah.
In the first episode of News Radio, Dave Foley and Maura Tierney, or maybe it's the second episode actually.
News Radio
sleep
is
together.
a perfect pilot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there you go. Now
Yeah.
we can move on and deal with their relationship or not, and great. Not just like, you think the 2 hot leads of the show are going to make out? Like, what a
I
mystery.
agree that in a post Sam and Diane world, no one needs to do the Sam and Diane dynamic anymore, right?
Yeah, but like, man, I fall hard for TV show romance.
do
It's like
too. That's
Nick
why I
and
fall
Jess
hard-
and New Girl was a
Yeah.
big one for me.
Me
That
too.
first kiss.
Jim and Pam.
Nick
Jim
and
and Pam,
Jess.
yep.
Nick and Jess was the greatest. Loved
yeah.
Nick and Jess. But here's what I liked about Nick and Jess. They didn't really do a lot of like hinting about it.
It just kind of happened.
They knew you were thinking about it, obviously, because they're the 2 hot leads.
Right.
But like,
But they also positioned Schmidt for a little
they
while
positioned
because
Schmidt
he's
for a little
the, like,
bit.
Yeah.
They kind of just had them have fun, sexy adventures. They,
Yeah.
both of them had romances and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's just that episode. I think New Girl season 2 is a fucking work of genius. P.S. No one
Agreed.
talks about New Girl
Agreed.
anymore.
I agree.
Like-
I love New Girl.
And
yeah.
the whole second season, Nick is crazy. He does all this weird shit. There are all these episodes where he does weird shit. There's
Yeah.
that whole episode where he talks to the Vietnamese man on the bench. Yeah. And then midway through, he makes out with her out of nowhere.
Right. Which that's a great scene.
It is. It's incredible. And you're just like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
He fell in love with his roommate. That's why he was so crazy. It's well done because it's kind of more like how that would be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be they would get stuck in an elevator and her shirt would fall off. I don't know, whatever. They'd have to remove their clothes in front of each other all the time. All the sort of sitcom-y tricks you do.
I'll tell you what I think is the best execution of the Will They Won't They the last 10 years in television.
Yeah. I agree.
Britta and Jeff.
Oh yeah,
in Community.
agreed, 100%.
Well, Britt and Jeff but it's all Dan Harmony and he's making fun of it. I mean, I love it.
I think it's great that it's like they set it up, then you think they've forgotten about it, and
Right,
a
and then
season
it's
later
like
it's
they were
like they've
doing
been
it
fucking the
for
whole time.
ages. Yeah.
That's my favorite show of all time.
Yeah, I just think they
Good
deal with
show.
that perfectly. I am a sucker for it. I mean, it's like a fucking storytelling show. We're failing to talk about the fact that this show has 2 separate Will They Won't They things going on at the same time.
Yeah, we mean Poots and Rafe?
Yeah.
Rafe Poots?
Reg and Kellyanne.
Red Leanne.
Rafe Poots does sound like Rafe Poots sounds like something you get after eating too much red meat.
Oh my god.
I have to say, I only knew him as a terrible person in Prometheus, and I was on board after the show for Rafe Spall. He is my
I
new
love him.
favorite.
He's also in all the Edgar Wright movies.
Yeah, he
Oh,
kind
right,
of
right, right.
Yeah.
He'll either play terrible people or
Jerks.
he'll play sort of Hugh Granty, sort of fumbling Brit types.
Yeah.
And he's good at both.
I think he's good in the show. I also think the show doesn't do right by him because they pick one or the other per episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, they switch
Well-
very hard between, like, he's the crass commercial, like, shark.
Because he's the
or
only
he's
member of the cast who disagrees with anything that's
Right.
happening. Like, everyone else is on board.
But sometimes he disagrees in sort of
Yeah.
an oblivious doofus kind of way, where it's like, you can still find him charming because he's Hugh Granty and he's just not from their world and he doesn't get it yet. And sometimes he's like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm cutting this off at, like, at the neck.
Did you see the BFG?
Yeah.
He's in that.
He's really fun in that.
He is.
He's just
Him
very-
and Hall, Rebecca Hall,
Yeah.
are very cute because you're like immediately like, oh well, these two are in love.
Yeah.
Like
And
even
they do
though
it
they're-
very subtly.
I know, even though they're like the secretaries to the
Yeah.
queen or whatever. But you're like, nah, I get it. I get it. These two are hot.
Ray Small's like
For
kind
each
of
other.
one of my secret favorite actors.
Good
Like, I always love him, and I went to see what was it called? Betrayal on Broadway.
Oh sure, yeah.
Mostly because of him.
Pinta play.
Yeah, because everyone was going for
It's all backwards
Vice
like.
and Craig, who I like both of them quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I was like, I really want to see Rafe Spall
Vice
on
and
Broadway.
Craig. It's on
Rachel Weisz
it's on TNT.
and Daniel Craig.
No, it's on TNT.
Vice and Craig.
one of them's a tomboy, one of them's a girly girl.
Yeah,
Vice and Craig.
right.
Yeah.
I think my mom watches that show.
Yeah, exactly. It's in its 18th season.
But so yeah, I mean, I like this whole cast. There are a lot of my sort of favorite underappreciated actors are in the cast of the show, or I knew were making guest appearances or whatever it was.
So Poots, it's got to be on that list. Poots.
Gugino, Wilson.
Gugino, obviously, but Gugino. It's like every great director has to have his chance to not use her right. Like, it's like she's the most badly used actress in Hollywood.
But can I say this?
And I think it's partly sexism. It's her age and stuff, so she sort of gets punted down to like a sort of a second tier of projects
But
or
she
whatever.
works so much.
Oh, tons.
And in a way, she kind of has my dream career.
She's got a nice career.
Like, she's someone I think about where it's like her fame's never become overwhelming.
No.
But she just works all the time in like a variety of different types of projects. Like, she gets to flex a lot of different muscles because she had her run of like she was like in all those shitty like family like she did the fucking Night at the Museum and Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Oh, she's done all that.
For like older, like not older, but like
She's in Spy Kids.
right,
All three Spy Kids.
right.
Well,
She,
I think of her as more of a TV actress. I feel like she got failed on TV.
yeah,
So she was.
she deserved a better TV show.
Just
I
to
mean,
give you-
Karen Sisko.
Yeah, well, Karen Sisko is the one that they fucked up. I mean, that
Right.
should have been
that
a
should have
show,
been her show,
like that ran.
and everyone agreed that it was
was a
like,
good
oh, here's
show.
her moment. Yeah,
I
So-
saw her the other day. That's all I have to contribute to this.
Wow, what was she doing?
Going to
It'd be
the
funny
Tonight
if
Show.
you're like, oh, that's cool.
I was just like, oh,
To talk roadies?
I think so.
Must be,
Maybe
right?
it was like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Spin City. She was
Uh-huh.
on Spin City in the
great
first
show.
season. They wrote her off
right,
because they didn't want Michael J. Fox to have a girlfriend.
right.
She was then on Chicago Hope for a year. They wrote her off. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. I didn't watch Chicago Hope. She was on Karen Sisko. That didn't work out. She was on Threshold. Do you remember Threshold?
Dinklage, Charles S. Dutton.
Charles Dutton, Brian Van Holt, who is okay.
Yeah.
Brent Spiner.
Yes,
I mean, it was like a crazy cast.
a couple of my favorite people there. Yeah,
Aliens.
Yeah.
Like there's tentacle aliens taking
Yeah.
over the world, and they got to stop them. Dinklage, Spiner, they've got them all.
but it like didn't exist.
It was one of the post Lost shows. It was 05,
Right.
so it's the second season of Lost, and it was when every other network. It was on CBS, which
Right.
is objectively insane.
The wrong network.
Yeah,
for it.
and that was when ABC had the show called, I think it was called Invasion, that was about
Yes.
William Fichtner in like a post-Katrina swamp
Uh-huh.
being taken over by aliens. Brilliant show, completely no one knew to make of it. I love that year.
I just
When
remember
everyone's like, no, weird sci-fi, we're doing this for a year.
I remember at that time flipping through the channels and seeing the opening of Threshold
Mm-hmm.
with the cast list and going like, wait, there's a Carla Gugino, Charles S. Dutton, Peter Dinklage show on television and I don't know about it?
No one knew
like,
about it.
But the marketing has objectively failed
Yeah.
if I don't know about this show. And then, of course, Political Animals.
Well, before
Which
Political Animals,
didn't have
she was
enough
on-
Griffin
She was on
Newman.
Entourage for years. In
I
a
just had,
recurring role.
I was eager. I wanted to
Yeah,
get to
she
the
was
joke
on-
about me not having enough dialogue on Political Animals.
She was on Political Animals, yes.
I played her assistant.
She's in Wayward Pines, the
Oh,
M. Night
right.
Shyamalan show,
Yeah.
which I believe is coming back.
Twin
Maybe
Peaks?
She's on Twin Peaks?
No, I'm just making a Wayward
yeah.
Pines
Oh, yeah.
is Twin Peaks joke.
Yes, indeed.
I think she's on season 2 of Wayward Pines. So Wayward Pines is coming back.
It is coming back.
Yeah.
Also, literally everyone is in Twin Peaks, the revival, so it's possible that she's also in it.
Yeah.
Eddie
Yeah.
Vedder is in it.
Yeah, and isn't fucking Sky Ferreira in it?
Yeah. I was using Eddie Vedder as a way to tie it back to Roadies. So.
Oh, very smart. Gugino rules.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She rules. Yeah.
She's great in Watchmen, which is a pretty terrible movie.
Yeah, you know who she should have played in that movie?
Both.
Everyone.
Both.
Modern day
Both.
Superman.
Yes.
Yeah,
both.
100%.
Like,
She
both
was the best
actors.
possible person to play.
I mean, I don't even want to get into Watchmen and like the
That you guys should
idiotic-
do.
No.
We'll do Snyder. We will 100% do Snyder
Wait,
someday.
that's 2021. We're doing it then.
I'm pitching it.
It's a ways from now. I don't want to do that shit. I'll do it if we only do Gahul.
Yeah, every episode. And it'll be called Sny Kids. Because we're the kids who talk Sny.
Ow.
Wait, how do we even get on this? I think Carla Gugino has a perfect career. I think we did wrong by her, but I think she also still has a sense of anonymity and gets to do a lot of interesting work. And does Broadway and does TV and does movies and does things of different sizes. I think she doesn't get. She's also done 3 movies with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Is that right? Is she in a Journey?
She's in.
One of the journeys?
I don't think she's in a Journey. She's in Raised to Witch Mountain or Escape
That's
to Witch
what I was
Mountain,
thinking of.
and she's in San Andreas, of course, which gets
Oh, of course. Yeah.
yes,
And
faint praise awards for age appropriate love interest.
yeah, very much so.
And she's got one other rock movie that I'm forgetting right now. I think maybe she's in Faster.
She is in Faster.
Yeah.
Good call.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course she's in Sin City back in the day.
Yeah. As topless
Carla.
parole officer.
Topless gay parole officer.
Yeah.
Any other credits we want to list?
She's in Welcome Home.
What
She's
if the
in
rest of this
Welcome Home.
episode?
Roxy Carmichael is young Roxy Carmichael.
Was she Troop Beverly Hills? Wasn't she one of the kids in Troop Beverly Hills?
Yeah, she's Chica.
This is the rest of the episode. Ben, how long have we been going for? I'm sorry, Enchantress. How long have we been going for?
Hour and 22 minutes.
Okay, cool. What was I going to say? I even forget what we sidebarred off of here. I think most of the characters.
We're just talking about each character.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about
Most of the
Gugino.
characters are two-dimensional at best, but it's a lot of actors who I find very charming. And I think collectively, the scenes where it's everyone kind of together, there's a decent energy to it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I think Cameron Crowe's strength has always been when he's good at chemistry.
Sure.
At capturing
that's a
sort of-
strength. Could
right.
be a strength of his. For
You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Capturing chemistry. And there are moments where everyone's sitting around and talking where there's just sort of a very easygoing, loose nature to the history of these characters that I really like.
And by far the best episode is the one where they're just listening to him talk about Skinnerd.
No question.
Yes, I agree.
That
That's the best episode.
works
Are we getting there?
yeah.
that episode works. Doesn't have any of the cast in it or have much to do with the actual show, which helps.
But it kind of it's like you see the vision for a better show in that of just like
set in the past,
rock
Yeah.
guys.
So that's the 8th episode. It's called The All Night Bus Ride.
Uh-huh.
I think there are 2 good episodes in this show. That would be in this season.
I'd say 5 and 5. But okay, what was your other one that you like?
I think the Cincinnati episode is pretty cute and basically works. It is a functional episode of television. I'd say this is a TV critic who has seen a lot of TV.
Yeah. You're going to pull rank on it.
I am.
Okay.
And then I think the All Night Bus Ride's pretty good, which is the Skinnerd, which is basically
really
Ron
like that
White
episode,
shows up and
yeah.
he's like, let me tell you about Leonard Skinnerd, and Van Zandt and all these guys. Great.
Yeah, and I was like, I know the history of Skinnerd, and I still was kind of touched at the end when Van Zandt died. I was like, oh, right.
And he nails that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron White really brings it home.
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting because I would say, just to bring it back to vinyl,
Uh-huh.
one thing vinyl, you're doing the eye twitch from the tick right now.
Yeah.
One thing
I'm
vinyl.
tired.
Yeah.
And I haven't eaten enough. Yeah.
One thing vinyl did that was a tough thing to do was have people play either actual celebrities from the past or celebrity
Yes.
type. And you're just like, well, that's not Robert Plant. Now I'm just
Right.
out of this scene. I can't, or what, this sucks.
Fun fact, I know that guy.
Yeah, well, he had a tough challenge.
Yeah.
To and then in that's the only time they do it. They have someone play a fictional musician.
Yeah.
I mean,
He does a decent job.
he does a good job.
And it
That's what
also
I'm saying.
helps that it's in the past, so it's kind of like a memory play. I mean, that's always a difficult thing where it's like when you get to a show like this, it's like, okay, so what are your 3 options? Do you have people play fictional musicians?
Sure.
It always kind of feels wrong,
Right.
right? Especially
Right, and the Stanton House Band stuff
Doesn't-
didn't feel
doesn't
real
really work.
either.
Yeah.
and it's even just their physicality where they're on stage feels a little too studied and affected. You never hear the songs. It's impossible to write a fake band and successfully make it they're supposed to be great or they're supposed to be terrible.
Although I'll argue that one of the only people who've done it successfully is Cameron Crowe. Stillwater's a great
Yes.
fake band.
Stillwater is a good
perfect.
fake band.
Yeah.
Although you definitely sometimes are thinking so this is who is this?
Well,
Is this supposed to be? You know, like
I
but
think
they're
that's the
good.
problem with fictional bands is you're trying to figure out, like, map it onto who they are. But
Except for in
Stillwater-
That Thing You Do, which is the best movie
Oh.
ever.
That's
You're right. That's
a
actually
good
the best
call.
one.
That's a good call. It's good when it's just a very obvious type of music.
Yes.
You know, and it doesn't have to be a particular band, just a wave of music, like a British Invasion or whatever, you know?
Well, and here's the other thing with That Thing You Do. It's their one-hit wonder, so you only have to
Yes.
do one song,
Yes.
and that one song was perfect.
You got
like,
to
they
nail the
nailed
song.
that one song.
They nailed the song.
Right. And the band is sort of so accidental where they're not ready for anything that they don't have to pitch it as, like, they're a great band or they're a terrible band. They're sort of caught up in a whirlwind.
What a cute movie.
That's so good.
The music was written by the guy from Fountains of Wayne,
Yeah.
who grew up very near where I grew up in New Jersey.
Did you know Stacy's mom?
I did not, but I used to go to the Fountains of Wayne, which was an actual store that sold fountains.
Cool.
That's
Did you get any fountains?
My dad did one time purchase a bird fountain.
Did you ever see the store Fountains of Wayne eating a burger? Because that'd be a good burger report.
Ooh, no.
What do you want to say, Griffin?
No,
sorry.
I'm bummed out to hear that you didn't know Stacey's mom because I've been trying to get confirmation as to whether or not she had it going on, but that's I don't know.
I'll make a few calls. I'll see what I
Okay,
can,
cool.
turn
I've just
up.
been trying to get to the bottom of that one for
Yeah.
years
No, sure. I'll ask around.
because she's all I want. I've waited for so long.
Can I hand out comedy points? And-
No, not for that.
I won't let you give me comedy points.
If you tried to give him comedy points for that, they would like kind of repel, like he was a magnet, you know? Like,
But then I could catch them. They could be mine again.
they would bend backwards.
yeah. You're getting you're getting power mad.
thought
with it.
about this a
Yeah,
lot.
It's funny. I love that people picked up on Andy, you know, giving you comedy
Yeah.
points on Fox.
So I was on.
Also, I've been given comedy points by Ale.
Yes.
And I don't think I've met the other members of this.
Oh,
party.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was on Fox News recently on the television program Red Eye to promote The Tick, and Andy Levy, who was the guest host for the show, gave me comedy points on air.
Really?
Yeah, which was like amazing to have that thing filter through to Fox News.
And I think we talk about this in a future episode,
Yeah.
but this is more relevant as to when that clip actually dropped, so
Yeah.
we're mentioning it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Won't talk about it anymore because we'll talk about it in another
Yeah.
episode. God, this whole thing of recording episodes out of order is insane.
Well, we
I'm
think
very
it's a good
confused.
idea because we're like, I mean, it's just a movie anyway, so
Right.
like whatever, right? Like we can do it in any order. We don't need to be
But
topical.
then these narratives,
but we have all these bits
we
that
weave.
yeah.
It's a tangled web we weave.
It is.
Um,
So, episode 1, the pilot,
Oh, God.
is the pilot episode, and it's called
Bad episode.
Life is a Carnival.
bad episode. We all agree it's a bad
episode 2 is called What Would Phil Do? What happens in that one?
I think
They fire
Luke
Ron
Wilson.
White.
Yeah, Luke
Luke
Wilson has to
Wilson's
take over the
Gotta be the new Ron
responsibilities.
White. Does he do
And
the
no
prayer
one-
circle?
Yeah, not very well.
But like everyone's kind of like I also feel like he's in the first episode they establish he's like good at his job and
Right.
then he takes over and everyone's
like
like
a-
fuck you.
Oh, get out of here,
Yeah.
Dan. We want the embezzler.
Like
I'd
no
say-
one like hated him in the first episode.
I'd say that episode is an improvement, but it is still mediocre. I'd say that episode is just kind of like, okay, you're getting to like a cruising altitude. Like the plane isn't crashing anymore.
Does anything else happen in that episode?
I can't remember.
It's like
I just
fun.
watched this in a week.
Me too.
Now, I mean, I'll admit, like that probably hurt my liking of the show, having to slightly binge
The
it.
show is very old school in that it really does feel like
You could watch this over a year,
Right.
like and retain
every
everything.
episode's just kind of an episode. There are obviously like storylines that continue, but the episodes are kind of self-contained.
Right.
It feels very like 2003. Where even
Yeah.
if it's like a cable show, it's like, well, we might not get a DVD box set, so you have to make
Sure.
sure that someone could jump in at episode 5 and get it. I also think you see how this show could so easily be a half-hour live studio audience sitcom.
Sure.
Like the
Definitely.
format of the show feels
Or
very
a
classical.
single camera sitcom.
Any of
you know,
it, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Probably would have been better like that.
Yeah, I agree. Third episode is the Bryce Newman
Ooh.
letter, which
Catastrophic.
Wait, I want to go back to the first episode and do a very nerdy nitpick.
Please.
Which is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is that when Wes shows up, he's handing bootlegs to people as like, here, I've brought you these CDs, which is okay, whatever. But he says to Donna, the one with the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Donna.
Keisha Castle Hughes, yeah,
right,
yeah,
Yeah. She's like,
Academy Award nominee Keisha Castle Hughes.
correct.
he gives her a replacement CD and he goes, last show with the original band, 1987. First of all, that's a weird. No one says last show with the original band. You say lineup. Last show with the original lineup, and it was
idiot.
86. It was wrong. wrong fact on this, and it bothered me, and I was like, I'm gonna bring it up on the show, and here we are.
And you
we
feel
are,
like
guys.
that's the one thing Cameron Crowe would
Right,
get right.
which would be like, he should know
The
this.
liner notes guy.
He's
Like
the
it's supposed
liner
to be
notes
his
guy.
thing.
Yeah.
Which also makes me think that like maybe he just kept saying it wrong in takes, and they were like, no one is gonna notice this, and I'm the person who was like, no, it was 86. Stinson left the band.
This season does feel like this series feels like liner notes the TV show.
Yeah.
100%. There's
know-
a Pino Palladino joke in one episode, which is like, I feel like me and 3 other people were like, oh yeah, Pino Palladino, cool.
It also, so much of the show is him like grabbing, like reaching his hands out of the TV screen, Fat Albert the movie style, grabbing the viewer by the lapels and going like, you should care about music. Like the prayer
Yeah.
circle thing is like a device
Right.
to have Luke Wilson explain the history of every town they go to musically. And then even just like the song of the day thing is like such a weird setup.
Listen to this song I heard.
But it's also the whole series is like the song of the day. Like every episode has like 5 songs that are like spotlighted. I mean, I did this tweet last night that was like too long didn't read version of Roadies.
I saw that.
And I screen capped 3 things from one episode.
Yeah, I could probably find it.
And it was like
It was basically every time you go ahead.
it was like Luke Wilson with like a winsome expression, and then it said like gentle rock music.
Yeah.
And then it was like
Jangly rock music.
right,
maybe.
but then it was like Carla Gugino looking sad, and then it said like rock continues playing. And then them like canoodling right before they kiss, and it said like
Pensive rock music, I think.
oh, pensive is the first one. I don't know, whatever. It was just
That
like
was a great tweet.
yeah. Thank you.
I
Pensive.
threw it a fave.
rock. Slow rock continues. Mellow guitar chords.
Right.
So the 4th episode is called "City Whose Name Must Not Be Spoken." Then Rafe Spall says
Good
the
episode.
word Cincinnati. It's a cute episode.
Yeah, that's
Again,
the first one that made me kind of turn around on
Would
it a
be
little bit.
best, I think, is a 22-minute episode because the way they're like, wait, what did you do? He did it. He went and did it. Guys, everyone come in here. Everyone's here. Finesse. Everyone's here. He said it. What did I say? You know what you said.
Yeah.
The C word. They say the C word as
yeah.
though
I
it's
didn't
like.
say the C word. Yeah.
But wait, my favorite thing in the show happens in that episode. Well, my second favorite thing,
Okay.
which is that he says it, and like everyone's like freaking out, and then Jim James from My Morning Jacket comes out of the bathroom. Imogen Poots goes, "You're Jim James, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "I'm a big fan." And then he's just there for the episode.
He's
no one,
just hanging out.
he vaguely is like, "Yeah, thanks for taking me on the bus," but like no one is like, "Why are you here?" Like you're not opening for the band. You're just hanging out.
Anytime they have a real life musician on the show, they constantly refer to them by their full name, even when they're talking to them.
Yeah, no one is like, "Jim's here."
Right. Or or they never even use pronouns where they're like, okay, so he's waiting in the back.
Yeah.
They keep on going like, look, the head and the heart sabotage our show.
Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, right. They keep on saying like, you spit on John Cougar Mellencamp's guitar. Do you realize John Cougar Mellencamp is? Hold on, John Cougar Mellencamp. I'm explaining this to the kid. No, John Cougar Mellencamp. I'll finish talking to you in just a moment. Like they keep on. The amount of times they say head and the heart in the first 2 episodes, if you had a drinking game, you would die.
So
And also, they just kind of shit talk them too. They like bring
Yeah.
them aboard, and then they're like, "They stole our shit."
And they also like head and the heart's like kind of well known. Like they're not like.
no, they're not that well known. They're
That's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what I'm saying. It's like
exactly, yeah.
weird that they talk it up like they're like,
Well, but that's
we
why
have
they
the
have to
head and the
talk it
heart.
up.
Yeah.
That's why they have
And
to
then
talk
they
But
about it.
get-
also depict them as villains.
And then they get like Lindsey Buckingham to open too,
Yeah.
which is
They
why I
do
have
have 2 numbers.
Yeah.
right. Who I have no idea how big this band is. If you're taking like a moderate indie band
Yeah.
or a legend of
Yeah.
music, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And that's this running fucking like plot thread is like, oh, they can't hold on to an opening act, so every show they need a new opening act, which is like an excuse to bring in new guest stars. But it also is like, I don't fucking care. It's
Let's talk about how many running jokes there are. There's
Okay.
that. He can't find his suitcase.
Is it?
Every episode,
It
he
is
has
what it
to
is.
make the call. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's
You look
not,
great.
You look great. The
Our
security
listeners are
guard.
just like a delete. Goodbye. What are they talking about? You look great is a recurring joke on this one.
Yeah.
You look great.
The
Put it on
security
my
guard.
tab.
Put on my tab.
I've been waiting 2 years to use that on this podcast. Carry on. Sorry.
I'm sorry. The security guard every episode being like, "It's not going to happen tonight."
Puna.
Yeah.
Puna.
Puna.
That's,
Puna. I refer to Puna's existence as a running joke because he's
Yeah.
never treated seriously as a human being.
is that it?
There have to be some other ones.
But they like every episode, and then they do tie them up at the end. But like every episode, these like five
they hit
things
the
happen.
same things over and over again. Let's talk about the most important thing that happens on the run of the show. Well, should we go to the next episode? Because I think the next one's maybe where this
The
happens.
5th episode is Friends and Family, which is the one where Luke and Carla hook up, and it's the Supermoon episode.
Okay.
6th episode is Longest Days. I don't even remember what that one is.
I think what I'm referring
That's with
to.
the fight with Janine.
Yes.
Oh, that's yeah.
Another supervillain on the show.
Right. Yes, that's the one. Right.
But he meets Janine in episode 5.
Yeah.
Janine
Superman.
pops up, I think, at the end of episode 5, and she's all sweetness and light, or
Yeah.
somewhere in the
And
middle
of course,
episode 5.
you know, steals young Rafe's heart
Yeah.
so she can break up the band.
And in episode 5, you're like, oh well, maybe she genuinely likes Rafe Spall. He's likable.
And
As
I'll
we
say-
all did.
I'll
Yeah.
say of all the Will They Won't They's the show sets up, they're the couple that have the most chemistry for me. Those
Yeah,
early
totally.
scenes,
Chemistry.
I think they're really
Janine,
good, and they try to set up
Joy
this Imogen
Williams.
Poots thing where it's like, well, he clearly likes her, she hates him because he represents everything she hates,
Yeah.
and then everyone assumes that they've slept together, and then like for the next 7 episodes, the show proceeds with like, well, they're not really talking to each other. They moved on because everyone assumed it, so now like the tension's gone for them. And the second Allison came in, or Allison, I was like thinking of the fucking Elvis Costello. Like that's
yeah.
clearly the archetype of what she's supposed to be. But the second Janine comes in, it's like, this is a much better couple. You're age appropriate. The two of you have good chemistry. These
Right,
scenes are
yeah.
really nice, and that's kind of an interesting story idea.
No,
is
she's
like,
a hateful villain
right,
who must be destroyed.
which is a bummer because I
That's
love
episode 6.
I love the plotline idea of money man in charge of a band falls in love with the ex that the singer can't get over who he wrote the song about.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a cool idea.
It's a decent idea.
And
You
the
guys
scenes
are
are
a little
good.
too jazzed about
We
this
love
idea.
this show. It's a gentleman's six.
Yeah. It's a gentleman's sick. What don't you understand about a gentleman's six, David?
Oh my god.
That was an AV Club rating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a gentleman's 6. It was
Yeah.
A plus.
Vanderwerf would
A
always hand out a
minus.
gentleman's six. Yeah.
Old Toddy.
Yeah.
I do
yeah.
like the idea that he's drawn to her because she's like a quote unquote muse. Like that,
Yes.
that's sort of just interesting. It would be
Especially because he's like, he doesn't get music, really.
And also that he's around, 100%, and that he's around all these sort of show folk, and she's like a real person. Like she's
Right.
presented as being the salt of the earth, like,
Yeah.
you know.
In episode 5. In episode 6, she's a monster.
Right, in
But
episode-
it turns out she just wanted to get back at what's his pants.
In episode 6, she's the Joker. Like, she
yeah,
suddenly,
yeah.
like, fucking organized. Like, she put the prisoners on the one fucking
God.
ferry and gave them the detonation for the other.
Right.
Yeah. You know, it's like a crazy master
But
plan.
then what's the guy?
Mike Finger,
No, well,
Mr.
Oh,
Finger.
Tiny
Zeus,
Lister?
Tiny Lister.
Tiny
yeah.
Lister, yeah.
Yeah.
He throws the keys in the
Yeah,
in
can
the
we
river.
mention, because I forget which episode it is, but there's a multi-episode arc on this show where Roadies gets fingered.
Yeah. I think Finger
Ben?
It's around the same time.
Finger shows up in 2 episodes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I think-
he's
And
like
then he's
a-
there at the funeral, like, but
Yeah.
no one
Yeah, right,
looks
right,
at him.
right.
There's no shot of him. He's just in the back.
No, Finger's got a 3-episode
He's
arc.
got 3?
Right?
He's
Yeah.
got 3.
Because
Yeah.
he's introduced in one, they're trying to find
With Janine.
outtakes and demos so that they can release a box set, because that's his
a
big
thing
idea.
that sells. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's 2016. People buy box sets.
Yeah, and Luke Wilson's like, I don't know about inviting Finger.
So Finger is the guy who runs Mike Finger, is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, but they always say his full name. They're like, Michael Lewis Finger.
And he runs
Mr. Finger.
he runs their fan site
Yeah,
for
and
the
he's
State and House
a
band.
diehard. He dresses like...
Austin Powers.
I was gonna say he dresses like the millionaire from Gilligan's Island. Like he's always got like a corsage and a little sailor's cap. He dresses
It's
like
what
a yachting
I don't
man.
get
right?
about Crowe. Isn't he supposed to be like the voice of the fan and like, you know, the people who love these things?
He's
And
like the closest Crow surrogate on the show,
then
and he makes him
every
into
one of
a
them is
lunatic.
fool. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
He's like presented first as being a weird loser, and then
Right,
presented
right.
as being like an obsessive asshole.
yeah. It's at first he's bad, and then the character actually becomes actively malevolent.
Yeah.
And then it gives Luke Wilson a chance to be like, all right, this is why I did music. When he like visits the shrines of the band, even though like a couple
It's shit
episodes
that he
before,
stole, yeah.
but like a couple episodes before, he has like the same revelation.
Yeah.
Like,
When he goes to his own house with
yeah,
his
and he's like,
ex-wife.
all right,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
this Graham Parsons jacket. Music.
He kind of picks
Oh, and
the...
then Luke Wilson goes on a 10-minute rant about fucking Graham Parsons ruining country music.
Yeah.
That was out of nowhere.
Also, love that there's like all these artifacts, like important things that like these people just own.
Yeah,
like
on this random tour.
Yeah.
Woody Guthrie's guitar, which apparently Mellencamp actually does own. I googled and found out, but like
Wow.
Graham Parsons' jacket and
Right.
like who has this
Yeah,
and
the
like
ashes
uses
of
it.
the Big Bopper.
They got Jim Morrison's dick in a box. Just in like a little shoebox.
Oh boy.
But no Rainn Wilson.
I don't remember what
No.
happened. I think episode 7 is the one where Finger goes crazy. I can't remember. It's called
There's-
Carpet Season.
Oh yeah, where he has the
He goes to an AA meeting.
Yeah.
It's the Denver show, right? I mean,
This
isn't
is-
that where everything
Yeah,
goes?
yeah. So every episode's set in a different series, in a different city.
Yes.
And-
Except they're 2 Denver episodes because they do 2 nights.
Yeah,
right, and that's
but-
the Janine and Finger thing.
Right.
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 But- and it-
That's an arc.
I can't believe it. I just have to say Finger as
Yeah.
like a.
That's when they finger Janine.
oh no.
Enchantress, drop the kid.
So lock the gates.
Marin!
Oh fuck! Right, Marin. He's in the Denver episodes, right?
He comes in earlier.
He locks the gates.
He
No, he doesn't.
they unlock the gates and they.
He shows
Okay.
up.
I was honestly disappointed he didn't make any reference to that.
Yeah, maybe it's earlier actually. So Marin does a set in front of one of the shows.
He's
the opener.
He's the sober partner.
Sort of like Bobcat Goldthwait in Nirvana.
But let's remember, that's how he
style.
comes in. Is they go the bassist who's been like sort of bottoming out and now dating the stalker who snuck backstage
by the
and
way,
sexually
Great
assaulted Rainn
storyline.
Wilson.
Great storyline.
And also, in the 10th episode or the 9th episode,
Yeah.
the bassist looks at the camera as a mirror and shaves like he's Luke Wilson in the Royal
They do.
Tenenbaums.
Oh, and the
I'm like,
editing
is he gonna
rhythms.
kill himself? Like, what
Yeah.
is this?
The
and then
editing
it's never,
rhythms-
we don't see him again.
It's almost shot for shot in terms of movement, editing rhythms, identical to the Royal Tenenbaum sequence.
but
And
no
then-
Elliott Smith song.
Right,
That's
and instead
the
of
bummer.
saying Luke Wilson goes, "You're going to kill yourself,"
Right.
Instead, he looks in the mirror and says, "You married her."
Right.
It's the weirdest homage.
I don't
to
know.
Have,
It must be an homage.
It's-
It'd be crazy for it not to.
David, it's like shot for shot.
I know.
The cuts are the same.
I
The
know.
literal movements he does. There's no way it's accidental. The framing is identical. He says one line. It's
How do you
the
think
same.
Luke felt?
Fucking
about that?
weird.
I don't know. He's too busy thinking about Verizon. Great coverage all over this land.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They got great coverage.
He's so fat-faced. He like gained 80 pounds in his face and nowhere else.
But I like that he's got some wrinkles now. That he looks a little.
He looks good now. I mean, he
looks
looks
a little
he looked
Sam
good
Bill.
when Enlightened
Bill, you
started,
look
and
good.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
Bill, you look good.
So Marin shows up.
He's the sober partner. I just want to
Okay, go
emphasize the
ahead.
fact that it's not like they're like, let's get comedian Mark Maron. The bassist who's been going off the wagon, he's like, okay, he's got a sober partner. And they keep on saying, like, I don't trust any sober partner that he hires when he's sober, when he's drunk, you know? Like, who's this guy going to be? And they show up and they're like, you're Mark Maron. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm his sober partner. And they're like, what? And then like, oh, catastrophe, our opening act dropped out. And Red just like, oh, Mark Maron, why don't you do us? Oh my God, Mark Maron. And they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, you can't let Mark Maron do a set. He gets up, he does the best 45-minute set of his life. And then afterwards, Bill's got to fire him, and he does every Mark Maron joke. He goes, you know, I mean, the Lorne Michaels interview.
Yeah, he does it all. He
Who are your
walks the
guys?
I also like the minor thread about like the Roadies have a band and like every time they're like, well, this might be the time you go on, and then Mark Maron shows up and they're like, no, sorry guys, and they're like, no, it's okay, like we didn't want to do that.
They get bumped for Maron, which feels like the inverse of a Maron story that he would tell as to why he hates somebody.
There's somewhere in universe a podcast started by Milo who's
Yeah.
like, man, fucking Maron bumped us again. I think I just had to get over.
I forgot about Milo. Through to this all, Milo maybe has a crush on Imogen Poots. I didn't mention that.
Yeah, and he's pretty like brokenhearted about it, but he never does anything about it. And they
kinda
barely
forgets
talk
about it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also when he actually like goes to say it to her, they kind of sweep it under the rug.
Yes, when they're in Weed, California. And then there's the other time where he refuses to talk to her because he's so heartbroken by the fact that she allegedly slept with Rafe Spall, which he didn't.
Yeah, he just believes that because Keisha Castle Hughes, whose character actually, no more than I'm thinking about, is really kind of a bad person.
Yeah.
Is just going around being like, you fucked Rafe Spall. And Imogen Poots is like, no, I didn't. Oh, no.
She's
Why are
not
you
there
doing
for the
that?
birth of her daughter.
Yeah.
She's
a
also the
piece
one
of
who's-
shit. Fuck her.
She's also the one who notices Luke and Carla, right? She's like, yeah, they had sex last night.
Right, but she's right about that one and wrong about the other one, but people believe the wrong one more than they believe the right one.
I also just want to say, at some point, Rafe Spall is like in a hotel and there's a fountain. This is my favorite moment in the show.
Yeah.
he just like goes over and touches it and he goes, "Oh, it's wet." And like that was my favorite line in this whole thing because it was so charming and like British, you know.
He's good. It's just
That's the show I want to watch.
yeah.
I have a question. Any relation to Timothy?
Yes, his son.
Oh shit!
What does Timothy Spall say in Vanilla Sky?
What does he
Lock
say?
the gates.
Yeah.
He does. Lock the gates. Listen to me.
Lock the gates. I'm Timothy Spall.
Lock the gates. You're going to have to. Turner.
Putters and murmurs.
Episode 8 is called the All Night Bus Ride, in which Ron White shows up to talk about working for Leonard Skinner.
Best episode.
It's pretty good. I would give that episode a Gentleman's 6.
And it feels more formally audacious. I'd give that episode a Gentleman's 8 or 9.
Directed by Sam Jones. That's ridiculous. That's like ridiculous.
I also don't
If you
watch
like
a lot of
that-
TV.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah.
I also read the AV Club.
See, I don't watch a lot of TV, and I kind of, I will say this, okay? And maybe, this,
What the fuck are you going to say?
let's get the vomit bucket back out here. No, I have commitment issues to a degree, and so I have a hard time, like, getting into TV shows.
Uh-huh.
And so I like watching shows that are, like, very kind of just, like, wafer thin, like you can sort of bat around, you know?
And an hour long.
Like,
I can't. It's so much time to devote to something.
But here's the thing. I don't want to get roped into a show that I feel like I need to keep on watching, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I watch a lot
do.
of challenging, formally audacious,
movies.
emotionally wrought movies. And
Can't
with
wait for you to see
TV,
Tony Urban.
I can't wait to see it either. With TV, I just kind of want to, like, unwind and watch stuff. I find the show pretty relaxing, and I kind of like that it's, like, so basic and whatever. There is the sort of, I mean, that episode feels more formally audacious in how it, like, the show could be.
In that something happens in it, and yeah.
And that's its own format, that, like, the storytelling
Yeah.
structure could change every time. But I kind of like that's just, like, I found this to be a pleasant hangout show. Certainly after watching the first episode, I would not have kept watching if I did not have to for this podcast.
Yeah.
But I, like, pleasantly watched, like, episodes, from episode 3 on, I was like, I'm enjoying watching this. I don't think it's great. I will never be compelled to watch it again. There are moments I like a lot. There are performances I like. I am having a fine enough time playing this show episode after episode.
But that's the thing. If I'd watched the pilot, I would never have.
100%.
Like, if I just tuned in on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But after, like, having to watch it, being forced to,
Yeah, it's kind
and
of-
staying up and, like, losing sleep to watch
It's a
this
low-key
thing.
charmer.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Boo! So,
Episode 9.
Episode 9 is called The Corporate Gig.
Yeah.
What happens in that? Ron White dies and he falls in a swimming pool.
They do a corporate gig at Funko,
Rafe.
which
Yeah.
is a rubber company, which shares the name of, like, the biggest toy collectibles company.
Which was so weird.
today, which is very bizarre.
Very odd because the Funko Pops were decimated.
They were decimated. That is true.
So
But I also-
as we
I'm-
all know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, like, a more recent thing, like, in the past year. And if it really was shot, like, a year or two ago, then maybe it wasn't a big deal.
Maybe.
Not impossible.
But it is odd that they keep on saying that they used to be a toy company and now they make rubber
Yeah.
bullets. Like, it's
But,
bizarre. Yeah.
what's his face from Togetherness, isn't it?
Oh, Steve Zissis?
Zissis.
Oh yeah, he's a good.
He was
actor.
great.
Yeah.
I was like, there's that guy.
There's
There he
a
is.
And
weird-
David Spade.
David Spade, yeah. And now
Yeah.
David Spade, you're waiting for this David Spade thing to pay off because the whole season they're all watching
They're
this
watching
show.
this dumb
they're like
show.
hate watching the show and they're like, it's so bad, but I can't help but watch
It's
dead
like,
sex.
It's like The Ring, except instead of dying within 7 days, you have to have sex within 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Once
like
you're cursed.
it's
by
like
the
an
zombies.
opposite It Follows.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sex is the thing that saves you, and David Spade's the one guy who can have sex because it's about attractiveness, and everyone throws out David Spade's attractiveness as an empirical fact. He also wrote and produced the show, which he would never fucking do.
No.
He's shown no interest
He's
in trying
lazy.
to, like, yeah, he's a famously
lazy man.
Lazy man. Yeah, who gets out of bed when his friends ask him to do stuff, you know?
But he looks good.
He does. Just
Yeah,
like
you
Bill.
look good, yeah. And then he ends up emceeing this corporate show,
Yeah.
and Bill's like, you gotta tell me how dead sex ends. And he's like, it ends with this. And he's like, that's a bad ending. And then you just see David Spade freak out and going like, we have to reshoot the ending. And that's the payoff of the dead sex thing.
Ha ha ha.
So weird to set up a fictional show within a show that seems like it's going to have, there's no like
Well,
parallels.
It's not just like a bad ending, but it's like they set up that episode after like they show it like clips. They
Yeah.
like they show a scene where it's like he's trying to find a woman named Jen.
Yeah.
And so Luke Wilson asks him, I'm gonna forget his name, but he's like, so what happens to Jen? And he's like, I killed her. And it's like,
Why would you do that?
why would you do that? Like, so was he supposed to kill Carla at the end of the show? Like, is that the metaphor he's
Right.
supposed
There's
to
no
make? Or, like,
metaphor. It never maps onto
it
anything
should have just been like
larger.
a like, oh yeah, I realized like she was the one, or like, I had to keep on having dead sex with her, you know.
And a show that's already about fake bands, having them watch a fake TV show, especially a TV show that makes no sense, that like would never exist, you know? Like they would never let David Spade do that. Even if David Spade had the like momentum to want to make that show, they'd be like, no, you're David Spade. Why would we make a show about you having to fuck everybody?
Yeah.
Which kind of seems like Cameron Crowe's idea for this show. Basically, is like his surrogate does kind of fuck everybody.
True. I mean, at least his surrogate is handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
He looks good.
Yeah,
Everyone says
he's
so.
looked better.
Yeah.
But he looks good, as everyone says.
All right,
Yeah.
come on, guys. Let's wrap. Let's get to the end of this.
Well, the final episode is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, and I wanted to throw my
think it's
computer
fine.
out a window, which is basically Ron White dies in the 9th episode. He comes back, I guess, after being fired for criminal activity.
Because they need him.
They need him.
Also, they casually mention he's murdered 2 people, but like they're like, this is okay, we can employ him.
And I mean,
But can I say, I kind of like that.
okay,
Just
you said
like
it.
vinyl.
You said it.
Can I make my limp argument?
Go ahead. I feel
I like that he
drained of
contains
energy.
multitudes. And
yeah,
they're able to
murderer,
simultaneously say
embezzler.
that he, you know, but like from episode 1, it feels like they're going like, oh, Santa Claus is a piece of shit. You were fucking lied to. The guy you thought was your mentor has been garbage the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like when he comes back, the Len Skinner episode, it's like he's a guy who's done awful, unforgivable things.
Yeah.
But he's not inherently a bad person.
Well, he's an interesting person in that it would be interesting to talk to a lot of bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be
Yeah.
full of things that you hadn't done to tell you
Right,
about.
but that he's not a cut and dry
He
villain. I
dies.
like.
He
dies.
says pistachio. The 10th episode is his funeral.
Yep.
It is
40% musical performances.
60. I mean, it's a lot. It's
a lot.
It's
We get-
basically his funeral. Like, it's largely
Yeah.
people giving speeches and musical performances at his funeral, right?
And then Carla's husband keeps trying to fuck her in a
Carla's
van or something.
Yeah.
husband shows up and he's like, "It's me, your husband. I love you.
I'm gonna
I
get you
bought
pregnant
Take us to the
now."
Maldives where I will impregnate you,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna pull the baby out of you with my hand.
Yeah.
because I love you so." Like, he is horrifying. Now we've been hearing all show that she's married or
Right.
whatever. But he shows up and she is basically like witnesses this nonsense for 10 minutes, and then she's finally like, you know, I don't really want to go to the Maldives. I think I want to be on this roadie tour.
But they already
Roadies.
established that she comes back and she looks happy in the episode before. And
Right.
Luke Wilson's like, oh man, I lost my shot. And then she was like, no, I was happy because I got to see you. And so like they shouldn't have to like reestablish.
No, but the husband shows up. You gotta
Yeah.
pay it off. He wants to go to the Maldives.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that happens in the episode that's not boring or finding out what pistachio meant.
Yeah.
Guys, his last word was pistachio. It was like a horse.
A horse you like to bet on.
Who cares? So
You're forgetting that Reg gets his Fendi bag back.
he does. He does. Old Reggie.
And then they call back to the first episode of
Oh
him
God, he
running
runs
back
through
to
an
the venue.
airport. When you
And
started
then we
running
get a
through an airport,
cliffhanger.
yeah. Fuck this show. It's never coming back.
You know why he was banging on that
Salt
door,
the earth.
banging on that door to try and get in.
Say that like Marilyn.
Lock the gates.
That's
Go ahead.
the joke I was going to make. Was that the gate was locked.
They locked the gates.
Fuck! They had locked the... Oh my god. Lane?
Layne Montgomery.
Want to take it again, guys?
Yeah, let's take it. Take
Really?
2. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so a cliffhanger, they're on a plane.
He's Reg is on the plane.
Right.
He's running. He realizes he watches her movie of
God, I have no idea
Everyone-
what Lane's about to say. This is going to be crazy. Ben, make sure you
You're
cut
not
out
cutting any of this.
Ben,
right,
cut out the previous take. Okay, Lane, go.
Oh, of course.
I'm elaborating now more on this scene just so it drags out.
Okay, cool. Ben, cut all of that out. Okay, Lane?
Sure.
So he watches the movie that Miss Poots made.
Yeah.
Poots.
Poots.
And, he just realizes he's in love with her, so he runs in the airport, because you have to have the airport scene. Then he gets in a cab and he runs to the door, and he's banging on the door. But you know what's happened? They've locked the gates. That wasn't as satisfying as I thought it would be.
Lock the gates. Roadies forever. Lock it on Roadies forever. Lock it away. Like paint, like quarantine on the gates.
I'm
I
hoping
guess.
for season 2.
Me too, Gentleman 6. Loved it.
I would be genuinely surprised. If
Had a
there
fun
was
time
season
watching
2.
it. Had a fun time
I
watching it.
think this is the end of our Cameron Crowe.
Yep, and you're going out as you went in, angry.
I'm real worried about him.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do with himself.
I don't
He's
either.
failed in every way.
I'm here to help.
What?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I'm here to help Cameron Crowe.
What?
Cameron Crowe?
Cameron Crowe.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So let's just start from the top.
Okay.
Your ideas aren't fresh, baby, okay? They've
What-
been sitting
good
in a
point.
filing cabinet for too long. All right, you want music ideas? What do you do something about crust punks, okay? Nobody's done that before.
Krusties?
Yeah. All right?
A Starz original series?
Yeah, exactly.
Krusties?
Get Machine Gun
Hey,
Kelly in it.
instead of roadies, why don't you do something about backup dancers? That's cool.
Backsies?
Yeah. Or it
A
could have been...
Cinemax original series?
What if it was Roadhouse, the series, and it was about bouncers? I would watch the shit out of that.
Sure.
You talking about Roadhouseies?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So basically...
An Epix original series?
This is to Cameron Crowe, but really to Hollywood in general. If you're looking for a punch-up guy, well, let's just say I can do an uppercut.
You're like Sagat from Street Fighter 2?
Yes.
Let's just take a little time to appreciate.
Hyper uppercut.
If you're looking for a punch-up guy, I can do an uppercut.
Terrible.
That's why we call him the Poet Laureate.
It is. It's true.
That's my spiel.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, as always.
No, so I'm worried about Cam. What do you think he's going to do with himself? What would be your prescription for Cam? It's not make that meth movie. No.
No, I say season 2 of Road.
That would be like, some stars
Yeah.
go supernova and then they're gone. And like some stars just get like kind of cooler and then they like shrink into what's called a brown dwarf. That's what season 2 of Roadies.
I think season 2 of Roadies, he could fix it. I think there's some greatness in this show.
I would love a season 2. At this point, I'm
What
fully
would it
on
be
board.
about?
They're gonna go on another tour.
Tacoma, we're coming back.
No, season 2. I mean, look, season 2, they are on tour with a Taylor Swift type figure, and
Yeah.
it's them, and they're totally out of their element.
That would be fine. The
Thank
only
you.
problem with that is no one watched this show. So
What if it's under the sea?
Thank you.
What if
You're
it's the
thinking of that?
space tour?
Yeah,
Planet
So-
Swift.
and I've already said my other things I've suggested that Cameron Crowe it does adapt.
Yeah, take someone else's script.
someone else's work.
this show hit, adapting someone else's
Directing
work
someone else's script, adapting someone else's book, or I think he should make an angry middle-aged movie with Alec Baldwin because I think
Oh, and Marin.
I think a Baldwin
Yes, and
Marin road trip movie
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
called Lock the Gates.
because I think this show is weirdly cynical in a lot of areas, but he's trying to be too open-hearted, and I think he's
Yeah.
pushing himself
I
to be
just-
the classic Cameron, and he should tap into that anger a little.
I would
more.
worry about him making an angry movie simply because I don't want to hear the rantings of like a 50-something guy on like
Kurt
what's wrong with
Cobain
culture
didn't
today.
die for.
Yeah, I mean like that there's a lot of ways to go wrong.
I'm not saying I want him to sit down and go, okay, here's my angry movie. But I'm saying I find a
maybe
little
there's-
too much in his recent work, him obviously trying to push himself to be cute.
But like the problem is maybe there's just not a place for Cameron Crowe in the like culture landscape.
I
right
think
now.
that's the thesis we come to.
I mean, this show, its top viewership for the first episode was 350,000 people.
Wow.
And it sank to a bottom of 242,000 people. Not good. It's not a lot of people.
No, it's not.
I mean, if we had that kind of listenership, we'd be rolling.
We'd
in
be
it.
killing it.
Yeah, but we're a podcast. We're
That's
not
actually-
a TV show that costs millions of dollars to make. It's probably pretty expensive.
No, our
we
podcast does cost $1 million per episode.
And we
to
should
make. It's not
introduce our
million.
new segment.
Costs
I'll
$1
bring.
million
Should I
to
bring
make.
the cat into the room with you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Hold on.
Boomer?
Okay, so Boomer is currently living. Let's wait for the segment. Ben is opening the door. Here's the cat. Okay.
Hey, Boomer. Boomer.
Oh my God, the cat's scratching at my windscreen.
Layne, did you have fun on Blank Check?
I loved it. Yeah, this is great.
Ben, do you want to remind
Did
us
you
what
have
the
fun
segment
watching
is?
Roadies?
Yeah, I
Did
actually
you watch
did.
the whole thing because we told you to, or had you checked it out beforehand?
There was a part of me that wanted to still, although I felt kind of burned from vinyl, that I was like, it was not
I
what
know.
I wanted. And so
I
I was
know.
like, I don't know if I want to watch another music show and get let down.
Guys, we have a third music show coming out very soon called Atlanta, and that one's actually good.
Oh, I'm really excited.
There's
for
also
that.
Dennis Leary's Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
Oh, that's so bad. That is... Thank God I didn't have to watch all of that for this podcast, because I might be actively furious.
Griffin,
Yeah.
the name of the segment is called Blank Cats.
It's called Blank Cats.
I got to write a new song, right?
So we have a purely white cat here, and Layne, here's a Sharpie. If you would like to write a song on the back
to
of this
draw
cat.
on the blank cat.
Yeah. Okay, so start scribbling away. Oh, it's not happy with you're writing too hard. Let's try to write softer. Layne, thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming in every week and playing the theme song.
really nervous.
You did great.
I don't know, guys.
No, you did great. You did really great.
Hey, here's 5 comedy points for the road.
I was dreading this episode, and
Because of me?
Yeah. Oh my God! I'm just rolling. I couldn't sleep. No, I just I don't like this show, and I found it a slog. But it's pretty good. Pretty good. And it was a great episode. I mean, Roadies bad.
I tip my hat to Roadies with a gentleman's 6 and a wink in the eye.
Bye, Cam. Bye, Cam.
Bye, Cam.
It's sort of sad every time we
say
do
goodbye.
these.
Yeah.
Like, we're kind of tailing off because, like, the last thing is often not the best thing. We're kind of like, all right, well, we're done with you.
And when you spend this much time with one filmmaker, thinking about them and watching them, by the end of the run, their style becomes pretty oppressive, wthere or not you like it.
Yeah.
Whether or not the last couple of things have been good.
Especially this guy.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a little much. There was a deep dive. Speaking of deep dives, next week.
Oh, yeah, we're going under the sea.
Well, no, first, a palate cleanser. A Ben's Choice. I don't know if we've announced this officially.
We have not.
It's another Ben's Choice palate cleanser, and it is... Ben, would you like to announce the movie?
Yes, I would. It is 1995, I believe. Film starving.
Correct?
Starving.
Starving. No, he looks pretty well fed.
Yeah, oh, he's doing he's doing pretty well in that department. It's starring one Steven Seagal in Under Siege 2.
And so next week, tune in for Bender Siege 2 Dark Podcast.
Nice.
This is the art that Pat Reynolds made for us.
Oh my God, it's great!
It's been hanging onto the side of a train.
Yes! I can't wait to see it.
Thanks to Pat Reynolds for all the artwork he's doing for us. And then the week after that is the official premiere of Podinator Judgment Cast.
Yeah.
A mini-series devoted
I know,
to the work
it's rough.
of
It's
Cameron
rough.
Crowe. We kept the 2 out of that one because we didn't want people to think that there was a first mini-series they had to listen to. So it's called Podinator Judgment Cast, Prana 2, The Spawning. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Don't forget to vote for The Tick on Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon.com/pilot season.
It'll still be votable by the time this goes
This
up.
comes
Good
out
call.
next Monday. Yeah.
Yep.
Here's the final installment of Griffin's tips for watching The Tick. Da-na-na-da-na-na-da-na-da. Please vote for it. Go to Amazon.com/pilot
guys.
season.
We did it.
5-star rating.
Just do it, and then when the button comes up saying lock the gates, make
have
sure
to
you
lock-
press it.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't lock the gates, the whole thing doesn't work.
Because here's the thing. If you don't lock the gates behind you, all the votes will run away. They won't know how many people watched it. They
Yep.
won't know how many stars they gave it. But give it some stars, write up a little thing, do the survey, Amazon.com/pilot season up there until September 19th. Da-na-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do-do-do-do-do-do. No burger report. Merchandise spotlight? Absolutely not. There we go.
You can't buy the Steinhouse Band's LP?
Not yet.
Can you go on the Taylor Swift Space Tour yet?
Yes, 100%.
Great.
But they're all sold out because there's one extra seat on each spaceship.
Oh, no, we should say there is a merchandise spotlight.
What?
If you want to get your body embalmed, there's services.
Oh, in the bucket.
Yeah. Oh, and we have the bucket.
Yeah. So go to Blank Check Tap Tap, our mobile game, and you can buy the bucket for 200 coins or 70 gems.
Yeah, and you get a real bucket when you do that.
You do.
Yeah. Lock the gates.
Layne, where can people find you?
Yep.
Oh,
Plugs.
yeah. Oh, plugs. Oh, my God. I should have written a plugs theme.
Should have written a plugs theme.
The
you can always
romantic
write one.
comedy?
Yeah.
That's true. I could try. Yeah, we just got a Facebook now.
Sweet.
We have a EP coming out October 7th. It's called Let's Be Sad Together.
Perfect title.
So there's
There's
that.
still time
There
to
you go.
change the title.
To you too. And Twitter, Layne Montgomery.
Great American Novel. All the back catalog can be found on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, we have records for that
Yeah.
band too.
They're great. People
Thanks.
should listen to them.
Thanks, buddy. If you like the theme song,
And everyone
here are
does.
4 new songs that sound kind of like that.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. This has been Roadies.
Mm-hmm.
We podcast. We did it.
Life is a carnival.
Life is a carnival. We'll never have to do it again. David is holding his arms up a la Phil, saying goodbye.
Yeah, we're all gonna give him a hug.
We did mention that Ron White's body is embalmed in the end of this episode and taxidermied, and it's standing up.
I don't
and
think
it's
we
him
did.
with his arms out. But it's obviously just Ron White standing there, right? We did talk about this.
Yeah, I think we didn't talk about it, but now we have.
Great.
We talked about it a lot before we recorded because we couldn't
did.
get over it, and it's a real phenomenon that happens in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, there you go.
In Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Do you remember those commercials, the tourism commercials for Puerto Rico?
I don't think so.
Where at the end the guy would sing and go, in Puerto Rico.
And then Luke Wilson would say the coverage.
Yeah.
Verizon is
Yeah.
great in Puerto Rico. It's great everywhere.
I like Verizon Puerto Rico.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, ostensibly.
All right, so now it is time for us to
Lock the gates.
Yep. And say goodbye.
Goodbye,
Thank you,
Cameron.
Layne. Thank you,
Layne.
Layne. Thank you, Cam.
Goodbye,
Lock
Roadies.
the
Goodbye,
gates.
Bill.
Bye, Roadies.
Cameron, call
Goodbye,
me.
Kellyanne.
I'll
Goodbye,
help you.
Goodbye, Jerry. Goodbye, Penny Lane. Goodbye, Lloyd Dobler. Goodbye to all our friends.
And goodbye, Phil.
Goodbye, Phil. And as always, oh God. Oh, I got a bad case of the rave poots here.
This has been a UCB comedy production. Check out our other shows on the UCB Comedy Podcast Network.